Hello, my name is Kafui Dey. My guest is a man of many parts, a set designer, broadcaster, calls himself now a development strategist. Who is he? I'll reveal his identity after I urge you to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I've checked the back end, and just around 15% of you who watch are actually subscribers. And I'm urging you to just hit the button and hit the notification bell so that more of such content comes your way. My guest is Mike Amon-Kwafo. Good to have you on the show. You're welcome.
I'm happy to be here.
We're recording this a day after the demise of former First Lady, Her Excellency Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, former First Lady of Ghana.
Yep.
I know you have a link with her, and it may not just be the fact that both of you were artists.
Well, of course, she was in the College of Art, where I also trained as a professional. But she was light years ahead. I think when I went in, those days they had a pre-degree program. Mm-hmm. So I went into the College of Art to do a pre-art degree. Mm-hmm. And so I think that when we entered, she was either in the final year or she just finished. So I knew her from campus.
Okay.
I knew her from campus. And then, of course, I'll meet her later on in life, and the rest is history.
Do you have any enduring memories of Mrs. Rawlings?
Oh, definitely. In fact, for me, she actually epitomizes a certain period in the Ghana story. You get it? That is just how strong some individuals can be in terms of the fact that the unfolding of a whole nation's destiny is pretty much encapsulated in their own passage. What I mean simply is this, that I would meet her later on, much later on, when I started working in GBC. Let me backtrack. You see, when I started working in GBC,
Ghana Broadcasting Corporation,
as a set designer, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, I did not stay behind the cameras. If I did much more, I think people who knew me then knew me more for being in front of the camera than behind it. So I was a set designer, but I think my producers also found in me someone who could be in front of the camera. I think I had some pretty good looks. My hair was curly and all, and I must have been quite seductive. So yes, so my producer started fielding me. I started with a program called Children's Own. That was hosted by the late Tina Moses. So Auntie Tina was the host of the program. I became her regular guest. So I do stuff with the kids, show them how to do stuff with their hands, DIY stuff and so on. And so that is where I started. Next thing I knew, they were fielding me for other programs. So I probably have done more content, in diversity than anybody has ever done.
And is it in that context that you met her?
Yes, I'm coming to that. So I was doing different kinds of programs. I moved on to do Best Brain. That's what I did for the longest of time. I also did something called I'm truly going old. I did a program called
Fashion on the Move.
Fashion on the Move, yes.
Crime Combat.
Okay. All right. Okay, you have my dossier.
Yeah. Star Workers Rendezvous.
That too. Yes. There's one that I was trying to remember. That one I did early days, but it was because it was an art program. I wanted to remember that. It was produced by Sesi Gajapo, the late Sesi Gajapo. Yes. So it was not just that. People took notice of my work as a set designer. I started getting to do stage design. I had a stint with the School of Performing Arts, but I came back to GBC because I thought the environment there was not what I wanted. So I opted out of becoming a lecturer. Before I came to GBC, of course, I taught for 2 years at a training college in Winneba. Then it was called a specialist training college. Now, together with the other clusters, it's now the University of Winneba, pretty much. Yeah, yes. So at GBC, while we're doing these programs, one of my colleagues, there was some kind of link that also goes to family ties. Doris Adabasu Kuono, she just wanted to field me for everything. If it was a classical drama, she'd want me to design the set for her. And so I also featured in drama as well. I did some theater, yes. So to cut to the chase, she came up with a program. Because all these are the revolution days, you know, the days of the Rawlings, yes, when we had the PNDC, you know, because I entered GBC in 1985, yes. So she put together this production. We called it Poetry, Jazz and Painting. And it featured me and an engineer who was also a pianist. His name was Ralph Quist. That's Ralph Quist. And then there was a poet, Kwabna Iyakwa. And so she came up with this thing and she themed it Poetry, Jazz and Painting. And it was so clean that Jerry Rawlings will actually ask for that thing, you know, that program to be played before anytime he wanted to do a state broadcast. He will actually request for that show to that thing to be showed. Why do I keep calling it that thing? for the program to be shown,
yes,
you know, to be shown on television before he comes and does his broadcast, you know. So that is how he noticed me. I'll say this in passing. I've always loved to do what I do. If I've been asked to do it, I do it, and I think generally I deliver. You know, so I was very active, to the extent that one of my friends, I won't mention her name, she'll come and tell me, "Hey, Amon-Kwafo, where you papa there?" You know, so yes, I was pretty much like a television baby. I loved set design. There was not much to use, you know, but I could improvise and do stuff like that. It created problems for me as well because the then director of television in my time, James Cromwell, he had actually been brought from Nigeria to come and head television. He would go to the studio and go like, "If Amon-Kwafo can do it, why are you people complaining?" So it put me in a certain light. Yeah. But that is what I have grown with. You know, it's part of what happens when you are a creative person.
Yeah,
yeah. It creates a lot of I don't want to use the word enmity, but people who are resentful, they're jealous, they're envious, you know. And I've learned with time that the best thing to do is concentrate on what you have, yeah, and do it to your best ability. You know. So yes, I was dynamic. I was quite versatile, you know, doing different kinds of programs and getting asked to do stuff, you know, and so on. And it was through that Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, today I have to say, of blessed memory. Wow. Because what happened was JJ told me about her, that get him on your team, pretty much. When we started, I didn't know that the conversation was about creating the NDC and things like that, but that is where it began. I was actually almost like a feature in her office most of the time when I was not working at GBC. I was there together with Ali Yamo and some of the ladies who were then in the 31st December movement.
So what was your role? What were you doing?
My role was basically I'd been brought in to do the brainstorming for creative ideas, you know, visuals and so on, and also create what do you call it? What do you call that thing when you have people like Ishmael Adams creating music?
A score.
Patriotic
music.
And
so you compose some?
Well, not the music, but we did patriotic slogans and so on.
Okay. So what was Mrs. Rawlings like when you were working with her at close quarters? What kind of person was she?
Wonderful person. She's a very warm person, very friendly, very unassuming, not arrogant at all. She liked me, and I liked her very much. She was hardworking. I think she's always had some kind of underlying whatever, I don't know. But she would sometimes go into the field. You know about the 31st December movement and the great work she did in terms of creating the gender thing, the gender awareness thing. She went to Beijing for the conference that time. You know, that was 1993 or something.
Yeah, way back,
Yeah,
30 years back.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and when she came back, she was even stronger. You know, I don't know why we let the politics get in, and there are some things that just have to have a national flavor, and then we just stop it. But that 31st December Women's thing was colorless and helped so many people, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people were all part of this thing. So that's it. That she was very busy with that, you know, very prim and proper, doesn't brook nonsense, you know, but very nice about it.
Did you ever see her angry when you were working with her?
She had a way of, she doesn't flare up, but she would tell you like it is, you know. And so I didn't see her throwing tantrums, no. She was very respectful. I was respectful, and that's the kind of relationship I had with her. But it was close. I remember when the ministry assigned me my house at Sakumono. She drove me there, you know, well, with a driver, of course, and police escort, military escort, you know, but she took me there, you know, and the dancing thing, she's always dancing.
Always dancing, yes.
She did a little twirl around the room and said, hey, we didn't maybe I'll come to
If I guess I go like,
Exactly.
What would you miss most about Mrs. Rawlings?
You lost me?
What would you miss most about her?
Well, what I will miss about her is basically her infectiousness. Is that a word, like infectiousness?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, good. So she was, her energy was very infectious, you know. And I've never spoken much about her and so on, because even with the relationship that I had with them, you know, through Jerry, you know, I was not allowed to talk much about it. Not for any reason, but, you know, just the discretion thing, you know. So yes, what do I remember about her is her dedicatedness. You know, she was very committed to what she was doing. In fact, it was like that's what she lived, you know, because every time I got to the office, she was there. And sometimes those meetings would go on and on and on till evening, you know. So when I had a day off, I could spend time in her office, you know. And sometimes I don't even get to see her because she's having so many meetings at the time sometimes. So it was when all those meetings were done, that's when I'll go up. She had a very elderly, very mature assistant, you know, and so it was our time when the tempo came down. We would sit down and talk mostly about what was coming. Okay, and of course that was before By the Fireside became a thing, you know. So that would come a little later, you know. I think generally when Jerry wanted me to be with her, it was because she had all these ideas and he thought I could be part of the process, you know.
She channeled them.
And just as well, you know, because when she was ready to do By the Fireside, I was pretty much like in charge, you know. I was not the director. I directed a few shows, yes, but I was the art director. I built the stage, you know. Initially, we built a real life stage at the youth center, Kafui Dey, you know. But then the recording go late in the night, so I went to film Ghana Films then. Before TV3 came.
Yes, indeed.
And
same premises.
Their sound stage was idle, so we built a new set there. Actually created a forest and everything in the sound stage, and that was one of the major things I did with her.
What was her role in By the Fireside?
She was pretty much the executive producer.
Okay. And what was the vision of that show?
Well, you know, her program was for women and children. So she felt strongly about the fact that our folklore, our traditions and so on should be very much a part of the upbringing of the Ghanaian child, you know.
That was remarkable, you know. I mean, the first lady of the country and being today, executive producer of a show on the national broadcast. Well, then it was only GBC that was broadcasting. But still, I mean, the whole idea of her doing that, didn't that strike you as something?
Well, it had to come from the fact that she's an artist. You know, recently I've lamented here and there that we seem to be a little lopsided when it comes to who we bring in to be part of the national discourse. You know, most of the people you bring in to do the national discourse thing are right brain people. I don't know if I've got it upside down, you know.
Yeah, technical.
Technical people and people, lawyers and that kind of thing, and not artists.
Yeah. So more logic, less emotion, less
Yeah,
creativity, less imagination.
It's all more, yes, creativity. Not that you can't be creative when you're a lawyer or anything. I believe that creativity is actually intrinsic, and everybody has to be creative to do well what they do. You know, I think a lawyer with an artistic flair makes a better lawyer.
Definitely.
Ankuma is one of them. You know, so how did I see her? I saw her as a dynamo. She was. I don't know when she rested. You know,
Did she come to the rehearsals of by the Fireside?
I think once or twice she did.
Okay.
She was a very what she is now. It's not quite what she used to be those days. But of course, those were different times. You know, those were the hectic days of the revolution and things like that. Now, you know, she was very outgoing and very public and so on. But those days, I remember when we were going to go look at my house. It was in the evening when she had finished work and we could go. You know, so we get to the Dungwa barrier, and then the policemen are taking their
torches,
trying to look in the car and think.
And they see her. What do they do?
You know, so she's hiding. Of course, when you look at the car, you know that somebody important is sitting in it. You know, but I said, "Oh, Kafui crying. Yeah, they can't ever do it." You know, yeah. No, she was a lovable person, but I think that the other side of the coin is that I think she also robbed people raw sometimes because of. I don't know what I only know how I related to her. Our relationship became sour, not for anything, but I really think that it's just what people do. You know, when people around power behave a certain way, not her, she is the power. But people always want, it's like moths around lights, you know, everybody wants to. So if you're in the way, you know, I'm talking about gossip and backbiting and things like that, you know. So, well, this is not the place to, and it happened a long time ago. But there are people who are living today that I know a lot about, but they are public figures and people love them. But they're not nice people, you know. So what I did as Amon-Kwafo was to retreat. So even though I was doing TV programs and so on, I was not socializing at all. I didn't have a social life. I just was scared of people. At GBC, they were actually calling me a spy, my own friends. Yes, simply because Jerry had come to Jerry's notice, and you know, this is the first time I'm talking about these things in public. Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
I felt ostracized, you know, but I didn't take it to heart because I knew that is not it. One day, I walk into this studio and the whole place is quiet, and I know it's because I was the subject. So everybody clamps up. So I said, I know what is happening here, but let me tell you. You are talking about the head of state. Do you think he has time and resources to put on you when even here, I know that you are not productive? He doesn't even know that you exist. So why would he want to waste me on you as a spy? Hey, this is me.
Did it hurt?
Yeah, I don't talk like that. I was hurt. I was hurt, you know, because all I wanted was to do the right thing and to do good by my fellow man. You know, if anything, I believe that is what Jesus is about. You know, it's not. You're not a Christian just in name. You have to live it. And some things guide me. Things like, as far as it lies with you, be at peace with all persons. You know, from him who asketh, turn not away. Those are the things that kind of guide me. And so I never said no. Most of the programs that I was doing on TV, it was not because I was looking for the limelight. But the producers would want me to do it because they think that I do it well. And it created all kinds of problems for me, you know, sometimes to get to me, you know. So it made you a bit of a loner because all you're doing is to do well, but people resent it. It followed me all the way to even when I came back as a director, you know. I'm talking about it because I think that it sits at the bottom of some of the problems that we have as a polity. This centralization of power, and people trying to gravitate towards it to do anything to push you out, so that they'll be there, bask in the glory.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Well, yes, welcome to the club. Yes, I'm sure you've been through it, you know, but it's a crying shame because I believe that we are all created from the same source, and God dispatches everybody with their own giftings. You know, everybody has something. So what you do is find yours and pursue it. But when you don't want to work hard, okay, you don't want to work hard, you don't want to excel, and then somebody does that and they are noticed, you know, then you go on the grind. It is one of the reasons why we are where we are. Because many people don't even want to exert themselves because they are scared. You know, there's also the superstition that if you are in the workplace or whatever and you're doing well, you know, somebody will juju you.
Did you see any suspicious feathers and things and
Well,
charms and stuff
not,
like
not
that?
really, not with the God that I serve. You wouldn't dare.
But did you see anything like that?
Well, there was stuff like that. GPC had that reputation anyway. Not that I saw anything Gani, you know, but the envy and jealousy thing was there.
It was
It
massive.
not just me. You
Yeah,
could
other
see
people-
people just doing that. I'll tell you something very funny.
Yes.
I won't even mention names. When Professor McDodo was the director of TV, then I was a set designer, and so I was part of management. When he went on retirement, the day before he left, finally, he had a meeting, you know, the general meeting, and then he spilled some beans. He said, "This person and this person have been coming to me with stories, you know, and so on," and it was damning. Even I couldn't look in his
And
face.
the people were in the room.
They were there.
What was their reaction?
One of them was actually like this. And then this gentleman went on and spilled the kind of things that guys will come and do in his office. I had been estranged those days from him because of the kind of flack that they were spewing. So by the time I got to him, he didn't like me. Of course, we're best of friends now, but that time, you know, somebody who was close to him was doing things. I'll say something. Today, I'm actually bearing it all. Anybody who did any despite to me, they are dead or they are ill. Not because I'm extraordinary, but just because that kind of lifestyle is poisonous.
Dead or ill?
Yeah. Yeah. You know. So you don't know. You don't know.
I want to know.
Good. So when I became director, one of these guys who used to
The Kokosa people.
he actually came to my office in the evening. I said, you know, now that you have no problem, you can trust me, you anything.
The guy who used to be talking behind you.
So I called one of my colleagues. I said, look, this guy wants his job back. He wants his job back. You know, it is the insecurities of our social milieu. Most people feel intimidated naturally for whatever reasons. In my time, early days, now it's common, everybody's a graduate, double graduate and so on. But then it was a little rare, especially in our department and especially in television and GBC. Most people would have gone to journalism, diploma and so on. There weren't too many graduates and so on. So the MBA were there, you know, in BHA.
Yes, those who have been around for a long time.
Yeah. They just resented the fact that you came from the university. You know, big deal. I was fortunate, or rather, God actually gave me favor. I understood that where I was coming from, set design was not even a core program. I mean, they didn't teach you set design. So you came in as an artist and you came to apply your creative and design abilities, okay? So you learned on the job. So I brought myself down. I learned from the stagehands. I learned from the prostmen and so on. Because of course I had the superior thing of knowing the principles of design and so on. But I had not done set design before. So I learned it from these guys. and I picked it up quickly. In fact, when I started working, my colleagues had gone to fight for things like Obra and things like that. They gave me puppetry. We used to call it Koliko.
Yeah.
You remember Koliko?
Yeah, the marionettes.
The marionettes, yes.
Controlled by string.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so that was my program. Now, nobody wanted to do that program. In fact, the producers felt that they had been sent to Siberia if they were asked to go and produce Koliko. By the time I had taken it on, everybody now wanted to produce Koliko. To the glory of God. You get it. There are two things I learned and I passed it on to one of my friends. He's so grateful for it. I mean, like, he actually applies it. Two things I found in the scriptures. One says that, show me a man diligent in all his ways. He shall walk before kings. Everyone said Jerry John was a king, right? It's a principle. It said, show me a man diligent in all his works. He shall walk before kings. Number two, a man's gift will make a way for him. Look, I'm selling ice in Iceland.
These are principles that work.
Exactly. You know, so that's it. I was just being obedient, you know, and that's the fallout. At one time, even though I didn't socialize, I didn't have a social life, if I appeared anywhere, I was virtually mobbed.
They knew who you were and what you could do.
Yeah, because they saw my face and they saw my handiwork and so on. And so people just loved the name. You get it. And I hope I'm not showing off anything.
No, you're telling your story.
I'm just saying what God is able to do. You can see me, you know, I'm physically challenged and everything. It didn't stop me.
At all.
Not at all, because I'm not my body. You know, there are things that actually sustain and keep a person. I'm not my body.
What are you?
The real me is made in the likeness of God. You know, and beyond that, I'm regenerate. Because of the blood of Jesus, I'm regenerate. It's not the funny things we are doing now, using Mojanga and him and those things. No, it's a real thing of God truly coming to intervene in affairs of humanity, to restore us and place us back on the tangent that He planned originally. If you're a believer, the only reason why you're a believer is that God intends to complete the work in you of making you an immortal.
I know your nickname is Revo.
Yeah, okay.
And I guess this is one of the reasons why
Well,
it had nothing to do with the revolution.
Well, no, not
Everything
at all.
to do with being a reverend. Yeah. In case you just joined us, this is a conversation I'm having with Mike Amon-Kwafo, man of many parts, set designer. You've kind of intimated that, broadcaster, and there's a lot more. And before I go back to him, please, if you haven't yet subscribed, do so right now because it's going to get even more interesting. We're going to take it back all the way back to as far back as you can remember.
Okay.
What is your earliest memory?
My earliest memory, interesting. I'm taking this off, so you can look through my eyes and see my past.
One time.
Let me put it here. My earliest memory, it's quite interesting. I probably still remember as far back as when I was 4. Yeah, we lived in Sefi Bekwai. That's Sefi Bekwai is in the Western region. Right? Yeah, we lived in Sefi Bekwai. My father was
one of the new regions now, Western North, one of these ones.
Yeah, I'm sure if people wanted to come back and they won't be able to recognize where their jurisdictions are with all this change of anyway.
So you were 4. You were with your dad?
Oh, yes. No, we lived in, I think, around that time, it was me and my sister right after me. She lives in the UK. Incidentally, she's visiting, so she's here. So it was just me, him. My father worked with the cocoa industry. He's always worked with the cocoa industry. He's late, of course. He died at 74, but my mother is almost 100. Yeah, so we lived in Sefi Bekwai. That's where I was born in Dunkwa, Onofin. Okay, and that's close to Sefi Bekwai. My grandfather, he brought up his children in Dunkwa. It's a gold mining area. I probably should go back, don't you think? Not to do Galamsey.
No.
One of my paintings is on Galamsey.
Okay.
It's probably deep inside there somewhere. Anyway.
Dunkwao, so the river was flowed through your town.
Yeah,
What
pretty
is
much.
what is the state of the Dunkwao now? I mean, what was the state of the Ofin back then?
I was only 4.
Okay.
I can't remember what
You
it
don't remember
was.
jumping
Yeah,
into
it
to
was
swim?
definitely not. But of course, all this thing that is going on is also more recent. You know, it just happened recently, comparatively. You know, because I think for as long as I remember, our waters have always been clean. And the only thing I knew about rivers was the days who was doing what it's still doing now, because sometimes my dad would have to come to Accra to work, and then he comes back because the those who's flooded, you know, and the access to Accra. It's always been there, all these floods, and so it's not new at all.
So earliest memory 4.
Yes, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my earliest memory and what I remember vividly was that we lived in a wing in what you'd call a compound house. But the compound house would usually have a wing, which is for the landlord. So that has its rooms, set of rooms, and so we lived on that side. But in the rooms that enclosed the compound, there was a Muslim. Now I know that he's a Muslim, but we used to call him Papa Kremo or something. And he had all these posters, you know, of people in hell being tortured and horrible things, you know. And I remember vividly those. I can see that clearly even as I sit here. And if you misbehaved, then they say if you do, they'll take you to Papa Kremo.
To go and get a sample, a taste of what is happening there.
Because he had a beard that was longer than yours, you know, and you know, he just you know, pretty much took the mickey out of me, and so I remember that. I also remember that the night we had to come to Shudu when I'll be about 5, when we were moving the things, there was a lantern that was overthrown, or what do you say, upset? Yes, that almost caused the fire. I remember that.
I can imagine.
I also remember the mummy lorry that we were sitting in, because my dad had gone ahead. He was in Accra, but my mother and then the bigger cousins were sitting in the front and we in the back. Somebody was taking care of me.
It's the wooden trucks, right?
Wooden truck,
Yeah.
one of those, the mummy lorries.
Yes.
I think I have to do a painting with the mummy lorries. Anyway, so then we were there and the people were singing music. I remember that night drive, you know, with the driver's mate singing songs.
Can you remember the songs?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that was a singing
But
song.
that was a night ride.
Yeah, it was a night drive, you know. Well, not
Very breezy too, because water,
Yeah,
air would be
exactly. I
flowing
remember the
through.
breeze and everything.
Yeah.
Wow. You're an artist, I've forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the breeze and all, it was quiet, and I don't know when we got to Aguna Swedru, which is where I lived most of my youth, the days of my youth, you know. So we get to Aguna Swedru in the night, and my daddy is there, so he comes to welcome us and so on. I remember, for example, in that house, it was a story building, so we had, I think, 3 or so rooms down there, but the kitchen was in the compound at the end. It was earthen wire, you know, earthen wire kitchen sort of, you know, you don't have gas stove and those things there. No. Yeah, and that's another childhood memory I remember that I recollect. A family moved in, and the next day they moved out.
Oh.
This is the real.
Shortest tenancy.
I tell you, in the night, they heard somebody came and sat on the man. You know, some apparition came and sat on the man, and you know, so they couldn't sleep the whole night. The next morning, they packed their trunk came, they packed the things.
It wasn't his own wife sitting on him.
No, well, not that.
And they left.
They left the next day.
Wow.
I'm talking about 1960.
It's like early 60s, right?
61, 62, thereabouts, you know.
Because you were born in around mid 54?
Yes, I was born in 54.
Yeah.
So you see, those days, the mindset was very different. Quite different from what we have today. Now we are all very metropolitan and all that. But I remember there was so much respect and also so much suspicion. And, you know, I remember Swedru, almost every other house, there was a shrine, you know.
What did it look like? Describe it to a Gen Zer who doesn't know what a shrine looks like.
Yeah, shrine. The shrine would be typically some kind of shed, and it's low. You have to bend on that, and then there will be this effigy that is there, made of clay or wood or something, with some bowl or calabash, something with some dirty water in it, and then occasionally you go and they would have spat what do they call it?
Cola?
Cola, yes, cola and pepper and things. I used to see these things, you know. I used to see these things.
Were you scared? Do you remember?
When you're a child, you're not scared. You actually are scared when grown-ups start giving you those apparition stories.
Telling you to be scared, really.
Baba Krebo Bechiro. Yeah. And so growing up in Swedru, I had those experiences. I hope I'm not rambling.
No, you're not.
Okay.
I'm enjoying the conversation.
The-
Your mom had a famous maiden name. Kwesi Saki?
Yes, that's my uncle. That's my uncle. In fact, when he became the first African president of the United Nations General Assembly, then I was in primary school, and I remember in my class there was a regional commissioner's son, and there was a district commissioner's son. You know, so we were always playing this, you know, class card thing.
Yeah.
And so I also come and say my uncle is the president of the whole world.
In the US somewhere. Beat that.
Exactly. You know, and I'll go bring the newspaper graphic, you know, to come and show it to them, because on the front page is "Stop bombing now in Vietnam" and there's Kwesi Saki.
Your uncle.
Exactly.
They can't beat that.
Yeah. So that's we called him Empire.
And did you meet him?
Oh, I was his buddy.
Okay.
You know,
what was he like?
Of course, I mean, that man. Oh, he's a good human being. I mean, it's like he was so refined. It's no joke. You know, he was so refined. I mean, it's like in his ways and things like that. It took me a while to know that he was human. I mean, of course, when I grew older, I saw his flaws. You know, you know. But he was a very beautiful person in a lot of ways. It was your typical diplomat. I know a diplomat like that, some of the diplomats from his time. If I told you one of them, then you know what I mean. You know, they have this training. You know, this.
Or it's restrained.
Not just the restraint, the refinement.
and
Just
calm.
the refinement,
Yeah,
even the
fine.
way they speak. You know, even the way they speak. You know, especially the fancy ones. You know. You know, yeah. So he was that, and he had a huge reputation. I think in his time he actually helped a lot of Ghanaian students and so on who'd come to the U.S. He was in the U.S. for a long time. He was in the UN for a long time. Kofi Annan probably would be one of his proteges.
Definitely.
Exactly. You know, so he was in the UN until he became the one-time president of the General Assembly. You know, for 1 year. Then after that, Kwame Nkrumah brought him down to become the foreign minister, and so on and so on. The rest of the story I've had a lot of distortions, and I think it's all a matter of perspective, you know. Anyway, so yeah, he was a great man. My artistic greatness comes from my father, though.
Your father was
Am I a great artist?
Yeah, you are.
Because I just dropped it.
Your father was an artist.
My father was an artist, as in he was the one who would make my mother's charts. My mother was a teacher, so he used to build his illustrations and things on cardboard for her to put on her wall in the classroom.
Okay,
and so on.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I saw him doing doodles, but he wasn't a good artist like me.
Everybody wants to be their father, you know.
Yeah.
At 18 months, something happened to you.
Oh. Yes, that's when I had polymyelitis. The story from that time is that I used to play with the white kids. You know, my father played tennis with some of the white executives and so on, and I got it from them. That was the story, but basically it was polymyelitis. It comes like a fever, and I think somebody erroneously injected me with penicillin, thinking it was malaria or something. Wow. So then it paralyzed me completely. I was totally paralyzed. I'm told that the only thing I could move was my eyes.
You lost the use of your
Everything.
hands.
I became
everything.
quadriplegic.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't have any memories of when it
I
happened?
remember scenes of me, even 18 months. It's good you asked that question. I do remember scenes of me in Konadu Hospital, because there was a doctor called Ntorin Cancer who took care of me. The name itself would come later, of course, you know, but I remember that. I remember I used to cry a lot, and but it's the nice ones. Children don't like grief and pain. I remember things like being taken to the Konadu sword,
Yes, yes.
and me trying to
Yank the sword
yank it
out.
out, and so on. I don't remember if there were photographs, but I do remember vaguely, some of those experiences. Yes.
How did your getting polio affect your parents? If you look back now.
To date, I'm still my mother's. I think when you have a child that has some debilitation that is traumatic, you become attached. With my father, it was one of, not bitter, but I think my father always, he was like sympathy. My mother was not like that. Cry. Sorry.
Oh, she kind of tough love.
And you say things like, I'm sorry, okay, then like, I may a burden. So I grew up thinking I don't want to be a burden. I think it also contributed to the way I did not shirk business. I didn't shirk work and so on. Because somehow I think at the back of my mind, it's like if I slack, I'll become a burden. But she did that. I don't know, good or bad, it made me.
It shaped you.
Yeah.
Can you remember the first time you had to use assisted devices,
Yeah,
crutches?
yes.
How young were you?
It was frustrating. It was frustrating in a lot of ways because you saw other children like you doing the things that you would like to do and you can't. You can run like them. I ran anyway. When I was in primary school, my legs were always full of bruises because
Run and fall.
I run. Then I think I'm really running, and at one point I think I'm flying. Then next thing I know, my knees are scraping some rocks. Interesting question. Yes, it was quite an experience. Going through all that. I remember because my uncle was a diplomat, high-ranking government official. I was actually giving a side ward at 37 Military Hospital those days, and I loved being in the hospital because they actually made me the prefect of the ward. And I liked the nurses were so clean and they smelled good. The only thing I didn't like of the hospital was that I think the route to the morgue was behind my eyes. So they assigned, I was scared, so they assigned me a nurse, and then should I say it?
Yes.
So the nurses would come. I don't think they were abusing me or anything, but it's like, kiss me, because they know I'm shy.
Yes, why not?
Give me a kiss, give me a kiss. Yes. And, but it was nice. I fell in love with soldiers from that time. Soldiers. Because over the weekends, the people taught me were soldiers. They would come because I was not in school. When of course this would have happened before I went to primary school. I think we moved from there, right? Yeah. So in primary school, that was when I think they had a visiting medical team, a team of orthopedic doctors, and so they wanted to do some procedures and things to restore. You get it? So they attempted it. If you look, my leg has got scars.
Okay.
Stitch marks. So they did
What were they trying to do?
They were trying to, make you walk.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So before that, were you using crutches to move around?
I never used crutches.
Okay.
I used to limp with my hand on my
your
knee.
Yeah.
Until when I was 11, 12, and my mother took me to in Sawam. They have an orthopedic center there.
Yes. Yeah.
That's my mother. She get about door and carry you. So she took me there, and she heard about it. Took me there, and then they put me in calipers.
What's it like being a primary school child and having to deal with your peers?
Or they'll tease you and things like that.
How did you handle that? How did you negotiate all of that?
It alienated you. They just made you feel, these children, they just made you feel like you're not one of them. And wow. They would do things like, especially in town, I suppose it's also got something to do with the fact that I don't go out much. Apart from the sheer physical limitations, most of our spaces are not disability friendly at all. I remember recently the pharmacy where I was living in Jolu, and I don't want to mention the name. I called the lady and I was sitting in my car. I said, look, I can actually help to design it for you, but I think you need to do a ramp because every time I come here, I have to go hold your generator and try and come up the steps to come.
Generator?
And she was not amused.
Oh.
In fact, I almost took her on. I actually was going to get her shop closed. Yeah. Because you see, the law is there. But because nobody does any advocacy about these things, a minority is always challenged socially. And because it's not affecting the next person, nobody can be bothered. That has always been our attitude towards the minority, not just physically, but we socially challenge people and so on. We're not doing enough, you know.
It must have been tough, though, as a young child growing up in the 60s.
But well, yes, but there was also the flip side was that I was absolutely good looking. I was a very attractive child with my big eyes and my curly hair and my lingo and so on. So everybody loved me. When teachers would come on attachment, their training school attachment and things, everybody would, gravitate to it. And you see, that was also the beginnings of a problem that will also follow me every time, because you become the star child every time, wherever you are. I'm sure you experience it.
And then envy now starts.
The envy thing, starts everywhere, even at primary school. Even I'm sure you read that other thing that I recounted in my bio. Some even as children, you experience what Jesus said about the heart of man is utterly wicked.
Yeah, seriously, well. So at the age of 11, you win a big competition in the All African Humane Art Contest.
Yes.
Was that your first prize?
No, that was my first prize actually.
Okay. So what did you draw? Or paint?
It was, some of these competitions that they do is a competition, and so they would theme it. So you're supposed to illustrate the theme or so. I was the only primary school child who won it in all of Africa.
Oh, wow.
The other 4 winners were from training college and secondary school. And I was in lower primary.
How did that make you feel?
I was in upper primary, yeah.
How did that make you feel?
I think the way children feel is not like the way adults feel. You are excited because you are getting all the attention and things, and, we are trained like that. We like compliments and so on. So you're happy, of course. Yes.
What was your prize?
My prize was a medal, a pendant that they pinned to my chest.
Did you have to come to Accra to pick it up?
No, they actually came.
They came to your school?
To my school, yeah. My school was a Catholic primary model school. It was isolated at every level because of my head teacher. It was called Master Otson. And those days in the education circles, they used to call him Master Otson of blessed memory. The man was different. He was one of Kwame Nkrumah's mates, And so he made that school so different from the other schools in Suedru. It was a Catholic school. The Catholics too, they are very...
Or disciplined.
Yes, that. So it was a beautiful school. So all the privileged class things in town, they brought their children to our school. That's why in my class, the regional ministers, regional commissioner's son was there, the district commissioner's son was there, the head of our Greek son was there. My classmates were like that.
Yeah, high and mighty in society. You won this competition in 66. Was this 66. Before or after the coup? Do you remember anything?
Before the coup.
What do you remember of the 66 coup?
The 66 coup, of course, I was socially aware. I do remember it because everything had changed. You had military vehicles going up and down everywhere, in the towns and so on. And Kwame Nkrumah's thing was, I don't think anything has even matched it since then. It was a complete overthrow. They deliberately tried to wipe any vestiges or traces of Kwame Nkrumah, So his statues were pulled down. I saw it. In fact, we had a piece of the sculpture, the statue that was at the Advanced Training College in Winneba.
In Winneba, okay.
Yeah, yes. My mother they kept a piece from that thing. They are all now at the museum, right?
Yeah.
At the
your parents were in Nkrumah's?
Of course, my dad was in Nkrumah's. Sure. My dad, and he prided himself in the fact that when Kwame Nkrumah came to visit Dunkwa, he met them in a classroom. Those early days were exciting, the days of comrades. I was in a young pioneer.
What was that like?
The young pioneer?
Yes.
Wow. We need to do it again.
What was a typical day in the young pioneer?
You see, yes, we had the after school meetings that would go where they would train us.
In what?
They would train us in military stuff, yes.
Really?
Not like holding guns and so on, but just the whole discipline of marching and so on. And then we had little ideological books that we read. Of course, there were all those things about Nkrumah does no wrong, Nkrumah is our Messiah, and those things. He was on a course. It was not self-aggrandizement. He understood what the Easterners were doing, that you needed to pivot, the whole idea of ideology in some kind of icon to focus people's attention on that oneness that socialism does. You get it? So the whole idea of elevating him like that was to give you a focus. I don't know much about whether he was trying to become whatever, but I think he understood that his own personal survival was important for a new polity, a new dispensation in Africa.
Is it true that you were encouraged to spy on your parents as a young pioneer and report them to the party?
It's possible. Once again, I was in primary school. I don't think that I was not called. In fact, at a certain stage before his overthrow, it was compulsory for all school-going children to be young pioneers. So everybody had the neckerchief and the uniform and the cap.
Color?
The color thing, yes.
What color was it? Red?
It was grays. Grays. I think it was a gray with Ghana colors bordering it in linear,
So this is like a youth wing of the CPP, right? Or primary wing or teen wing?
It was a national wing.
A national wing. Of a certain age of people, right?
Well, it included us. Because we had a, what do you call, a wolf cups and so on.
Okay.
There were different degrees.
All right.
I don't remember the two.
Would you say it was modeled on the Boy Scouts and the Girl Guides?
Kind of, all of that together, But I think primarily the whole idea was to be able to have an ideological orientation that made people nationalistic.
Did you ever meet Kwame Nkrumah?
Me, I only saw him from a distance.
Okay, he came to your neighborhood.
He passed by.
He passed to your neighborhood.
What it was, I think when Queen Elizabeth came down, we still have the caps and things, the merchandising they did that time. We still have samples of that.
For you, what was your enduring emotion with the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah?
I was hurt. It's not because we were kind of like inside the whole Nkrumah never dies thing. No. But even as children, we knew the difference. You get it? We understood that, well, at least I did, that we were in a process where it's a prideful thing to be African and things. My class teacher was not your everyday kind of teacher. He was very enlightened. He helped me to develop my art. I think he was in Zuma, but it had nothing to do with that. Now, my headmaster himself was Nkrumah's mate somewhere along the line. So they brought us up with that kind of reverence for what the first gentleman stood for, I think my political comes way back from then,
Primary school?
Yeah, it's primary school,
That's an early age to be conscious,
Yes. I've always been in leadership because you learn songs like Brighten the Corner Where You Are and so on. And so you grow up knowing that the rest of the world is looking for your contribution.
What was your favorite song back in the day in primary school?
Brighten your corner,
I want to hear it.
That's why I paused. I tried to remember. I knew you would want to hear.
Brighten your corner where you are.
Brighten your corner, brighten the corner. But the people who sang the bass had a certain trajectory. That's what I was trying to remember. But it's brighten the corner where you are, brighten the corner where you are, brighten the corner, something like that.
It's a marching song.
It's a marching song. But when we close from assembly and we're going to our classrooms, we'll be playing like
brighten the corner.
With the guys who play the big drums.
Big drums, boom, boom.
And it's a complete set, You see, so that kind of discipline, it kind of ingratiated you into the fact that you belonged to a collective. You get. So I believe the absence of that must account for some of the waywardness that we're experiencing, because like how people say, children are not reared. They are not animals. You don't rear human beings. You train them.
Did you unconsciously or subconsciously resist the new people who overthrew Osajifo?
Oh no, we're too young to understand those things. In any case, you wouldn't dare, because military governments will remain military governments. Somehow they come and they make it clear that there's a new sheriff in town. So
Did it affect your father, the overthrow?
deeply.
Professionally?
No, not professionally. He was not higher up, so he wouldn't be. But he just, my father just lost it. I mean, I think all through the rest of his life, because it happened when he was young anyway, he always felt that it will never be the same.
You felt it that deeply?
That it will never be the same without Nkrumah. Of course, now we know different. We can raise other Nkrumahs, but it set us back, like what is happening in Libya now. It really set us back, because there was a complete dismantling of the status quo. And wow, you are making me nostalgic. Yeah, even as a child, you could feel the change. It's like nothing was the same anymore. Like the party was over, kind of.
Yeah.
Which group was that? Was that
This was the Kotoka and his
Kotoka and
people.
Afrifa?
Yes.
Okay.
66.
Yeah, 66.
And then you write your common entrance,
Oh yeah.
and then you go to Swedru Secondary School.
Oh,
and you're very active as a leader.
You won't believe it. In fact, sometimes I look at it and say, did I do that?
Yeah, I mean, president and vice president of debating, drama, entertainment, geography societies, secretary on the master student disciplinary committee. I mean, where do you find the time?
Form 4.
Find the time to do all of this stuff.
Our clubs and associations, we met on different days. I was just that kind of social animal. Like I just wanted to be part of anything that I thought there was opportunity to establish something. I think that's what it was. And so I look back and I wonder how I was able to do that. But I think it is because society had not unleashed anything negativity in me yet. When you're a child, you're very open-minded. That's what I think. So as a teenager, all I could see was opportunity, and for me it was fun.
But people were still being mean to you. Something happened at the fun fair.
Yeah.
What happened?
Okay, I can tell you that story. I think I was in Form 4. I must have been in Form 4, yeah. Or Form 3, anyway. Which makes me about 14, 15. Yeah. We had organized this fun fair. And the schools were coming from Cape Coast, and then Accra. I think at least I remember Accra Academy was there, and then our Palm Secondary School. They came. All their sister clubs, the entertainment club and so on. They all came in their school trucks and buses. The whole place was
jamming.
Yes, and I was the mastermind behind it.
This is the Achampon time area. That area.
Yes, this will be This is Achampon time. Yeah. That was the time that
67 to 72. Okay, so in between.
Yes, that was about the time that Mensah died, the goalkeeper. What was his name? Yeah, Mensah.
Very famous goalkeeper.
Yes. We actually listened to him die because there was commentary from the hospital.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, they were doing radio commentary. So they were doing breaking news. So we knew that he was critical and things until an announcement came that he had died.
That's traumatic.
See?
That would have been pretty traumatic.
Yeah, for us children. And by the time you're a young teen, you are into football and things. Why can't I remember his name?
It will come.
Yeah, okay.
So you're organizing this fun fair?
So this fun fair, I'm grown old. Look at me how I'm vacillating.
But you're doing well.
Wow. Anyway, it comes eventually.
Definitely.
I don't know, one day I'll be sitting here watching Grey in your bed, for example, and here I sit, looking so different from those days when I was a darling boy on television.
Episode.
With my curly hair.
Life.
Those days, I mean, and it was me, there was the radio people too were there, and unfortunately, KKD would come later. Charlie Sam,
good old days,
Poncho, and those guys. But see, those are the radio people.
Yeah.
So they were the ones who were famous. I was a new kid on the block, working at television, appeared on television, and it changed the status quo a little, because then the radio people were very celebrated.
Indeed.
You know what it is.
I want to get there, but
Yeah.
I still need to finish
Okay,
the
fine. You
funfair
want me
story.
to do that one?
The funfair.
The fanfare thing.
Yes.
I was trying to dodge it.
No, don't dodge it.
Anyway. So what happens is, I was almost single-handedly, and you see, I had guys, who say they just your draw, your artists. So they were the ones who were backing me up, By God's grace, we are still around. Some people have died and so on. So we actually have a year group, and some of them are there. So they know the story. If they watch your program, they will know the story.
Somebody took your brace away.
Yes, I had been working through the night, making posters for the treasure hunt and other activities we're going to do and so on. That afternoon, I was going to be the MC for the music bit, music and dance bit, So I had worked through the night, and I think I've kept doing that. Yesterday, for example, I slept about 3 a.m. So in the morning, I hadn't slept. I was still awake, very alive. I went to have my shower. I came back, and my brace and my shoes were gone. I thought maybe somebody was pulling a prank. Now, prank, So, long story short, I had to do everything in my bare feet, limping all over the place, and I couldn't. To date, I can't wear normal shoes. I can't wear sandals. I can't wear slippers because I don't have a toe grip. So I had to do it barefoot. So I went on stage, did everything barefoot. Yeah. It was almost like the Accra boys, as in the boys who came to school from Accra, were pitching against the local boys, that kind of thing. They wanted that because their friends are coming, this same feeling of Charlie show off, that kind of thing.
Did you feel sorry for yourself when that incident happened?
Feel sorry, that was a luxury most of the time for me, feeling sorry. Of course, sometimes you do the pity party thing. You
ever ask God why?
I've done that a number of times. Of course, I know better now. One day, God actually told me that, that's when I learned about the fact that I'm not my body. And the scripture that came along with it was like, it's better to enter the kingdom of God maimed than to have your whole body and be thrown into hell. I don't touch the word hell because it raises hell,
I know.
Yes, but I think I understand this whole cosmo thing about, the afterlife and all that. That is what I did for my master's. I actually did African religion. So they take my brace, and it was never found. The next day, the report gets to the headmaster, so he declares a day off. Nobody's going to school until they find my brace. Yeah, so the whole school was sent out there to wherever, the bushes, whatever, to find it. I suspect that they put it in what we used to call alapo.
The latrine?
The latrine, yes.
Oh boy.
The outdoor latrine thing.
Yeah.
Most schools had it.
Yeah.
I think that's where they dumped it because that thing was always full of maggots. And so I'm sure
nobody's going to go
maggots
there.
quickly became
Consumed it.
Consumed. They became allies.
Exactly. Oh wow.
Yeah. So it was never found. It took about maybe a month or more for new ones to be built for me because I had to go to Sawam for them to take measurements. In Sawam, they have a limb fitting center. I think it's the biggest in the country.
So for 1 month, you had to suffer all this
classes
discomfort.
and everything without my shoes. Walking barefoot. If it rained, I had to go to classes. I would be walking in the mud for that long. Yeah, but I don't think it inhibited me in any way. It's because you are asking now that I'm actually trying to do a retrospect to see whether I was sad or whatever. I think I was just awake.
What do your buddies, your close friends think?
No, there were people who were obviously, they were consternated, and I could even tell who probably was part of the,
The squad.
The squad, exactly. Because you read body language.
Yes.
Yeah. So you see, very early in life, I learned about the green eyes of envy. But it can easily make you think that you should not aspire.
What does envy look like up close and personal?
Up close, treacherous and threatening.
What are some of the signs that people should
Anybody
look
who could do that to me could kill.
How do you know somebody is envious of you? I mean, based on your long experience of
Sometimes the kind of things they will say.
like.
I remember, for example, I'm trying to update my hey, Charlie, I'm updating my Facebook page, and I write, because then I had just come out of time, I write former director of television. One of my own friends comes and says, so we all know that you are the former director of television. I mean, I didn't know where that was coming from.
With venom, eh?
With some kind of venom. I don't know if you can detect venom in texts. But
you can, I'm sure.
Eh?
Or maybe the speed with which the thing comes out.
Yeah, you
so we all know that you are
like, why everybody writes whatever on their status.
Exactly, it's your wall.
And the guy said that. And coming from him, because we're like this, I thought, oh, maybe he's just teasing, because he kind of like, he used to quite like, revere me, he always helped. He's dead anyway. Always.
Oh, you told me about the templates, the other dead.
No, I told you. You see, it says somewhere in the scripture, it says it's a terrible thing to fall into the hands of the living God. It's not because God is mean and wicked, but it's because when you break the principle, it lands you here or there. It's a life principle. Our head teacher used to teach us, and he would actually demonstrate it physically. You take a football and bounce it on the wall, it bounce back to you. Like reap and sow, karma. Or what to say? It's
you reap what you sow.
Yin and yang.
Yin and yang. Yin and yang, you reap what you sow.
Exactly.
So what do you think was the highlight of your secondary education?
We didn't have a sixth form then, but I was okay. Let me give you the tidbits. You read where it says that I was the secretary to the Master Student Disciplinary Committee.
Yes.
When we finished O's, there's this feeling that you have when you finish O level. You think you're suddenly an adult and things, and you don't. The school rules don't even matter to you anymore because you've written your paper anyway. You are on your way out. I grew up around a father who used to smoke cigarettes. He stopped late somewhere along the line. He did, of course, But so as a child, I saw my father smoke. So I was proud of smoking, but I was not smoking until about this time. You're about to come to school and your friends are doing it. So here we stand in front of house 2, smoking. Well, the other side in assembly,
What was it like that first?
See?
That first jot.
Of course, I was coughing. Then somebody comes to grab my hand. The veterans actually seen this master coming.
So they had crammed.
They had ditched their cigarettes. By the time the guy holding on to my hand,
the evidence was
smoke coming out of
like a dragon.
Exactly, yes. So he goes like, oh, Kwafo. Because we lived in Swedru, they all knew my father. My father was a very respectable person, even though he was not like top echelon. It's not like he had money or anything, but he was highly respected. Like when they are playing the Swedru 11 of executives, they had him.
He was a footballer.
Yeah, he used to play when he was young, I think. But he was very respected because my father was very good looking, very respectable, and very respectful, of course, Presbyterian training and all that. So, yeah.
So the guy was disappointed. The guy who arrested you was disappointed that you were smoking.
It's very, because that was me. Why do you think I was the chairman, the secretary to the Master Student Disciplinary Committee? Because I was on the SU, I was in the SU and everything. I was not pretending, no. Everything I did it sincerely. I mean, but I think even then I was not born again.
Were you punished for smoking?
All of us were not punished because of me. It's like when he, Kwafo, they said, you guys go and sleep. If I wasn't there, it would have been dealt with. But because of me, because like, he was so shocked, he didn't know what to do. It shamed me. I still remember it, and I get my skin crawls.
Have you smoked since?
Are you kidding me? By the time because I went to university when I was 17 for the pre-degree program, had a room to myself. I used to smoke more than a packet of cigarettes a day.
So the Kwafo thing didn't end. You continued.
It actually confirmed me in it.
When did you stop though? Or you still smoke?
No, I don't smoke anymore, of course. Kafui. When I went to the university, I mean, those days in the university, you had a room to yourself. In fact, incidentally, it was the year after we entered that they started the pairing system. But even then, it was not every room that was.
So in your first year, you were alone?
Oh, yeah, I had my room to myself. Around that time, I also had a room to myself because I was the whole vice president, Yes, at how old was I? 17, 18?
17, 18. Yeah, 18.
you know, and with all these adults, you know, military officers and things. You know, the university, I mean, it's like, yeah. And small boy, we're vice president.
You were the vice P.
But they loved me. I think people loved me. I mean, it's like.
Did you go for an election, or it was
Yeah,
like
it was an
a
election.
guy wins and then he
the whole election. Yeah,
you went and
just
you,
election.
yeah, you won.
Yeah, I won. Let me show you how I won. The guy that I stood against, my main contender, was a third-year student in pharmacy.
And you were in first year.
I was in pre,
Not even
like second year, A level 2.
A level 2.
Yeah,
Upper 6.
Upper 6, exactly, upper 6.
Wow.
Equivalent of upper 6.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was no match to someone like that. So I came, and when I I was holding a tin of milk, 2 tins of milk. One was empty and one was full. You know? So I started my presentation like that. I just came and stood there. I brought this funny guy. I hear he's even gone off. Nice gentleman, crazy guy. Very funny guy. As soon as I came, I was like, hey.
With a tin of milk and empty and
Yes. So I dropped the full tin of milk, and it hit the floor with a thud, you know. Then I dropped the empty one in such a way that it rolled. So it went boom, 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 and when it settled, they all looked at me. I said, empty barrels make the most noise. That was it. They didn't even allow me to talk.
that was the end.
That was it.
That was your campaign speech.
That was my conference speech.
Boom.
Boom.
And you won.
And I won.
There was a crisis in 1973.
Yes.
Queen's Hall crisis.
The Queen's Hall
And you
crisis,
led the negotiations. What was the crisis about? What was the big deal?
Basically, it was some of the things that happened in tertiary schools, and it was about food.
You guys went on strike because of food.
Yeah.
Why?
You had all kinds of people. There was this guy, for example, who his name was Obasi. Obasi was a veteran from the Biafra War.
Nigerian.
And he used to crack. I mean, he's seen death, he's seen all kinds of things. So we had all these people. I go to lectures, I come back, and the hall is in an uproar. People are strike. They said the food was bad, there was sand in the food and things. Because the reports have been coming that the domestic bears had been, you know, embezzling, so cutting corners or whatever. So people were very irate. And so even when I wanted to stop this, if you do, I'll slap you. One of my classmates, hey, Charlie, this food business, when there's a mob thing, it's terrible. I saw it on different levels. If there's space, we can talk about it. As a student leader, seeing these things. So Queen's Hall, and I'm this young and gullible and everything. So these guys who came that said that they had evidence, they had receipts and things like that. One of them was a police officer. So went in there confidently, and I confronted the hall master and the representative from the vice chancellor and things. By starting by, I think I had a penchant for that, right? Always starting something dramatic. So I went like, obviously from the way you are talking, you have heard the other side of the story. That was my preamble. It was Professor Wright. So Professor Wright goes like, young man, what is he's trying to bully me, And it's like, you don't come and then talk to us with that tone and things. If I was scared, to be honest with you, I was scared. I don't know why I was scared, but he just made it clear that he would deal with me if I'm going to be disrespectful and all that. Meanwhile, in the background, the noise and stuff was going on. It was terrible. So finally, we had to move the negotiations to the administration. But somewhere along the line, I think, was it the day after? So it's like there's a strike and it's only in Queen's Hall. They wanted the registrar because they said the registrar was the one who was supposed to resolve this thing, because it was domestic, money issues and so on. So they went to the registrar's house. I forget his name. And he was not there. So they kidnapped his wife.
Hey.
Yes. So that made it criminal.
It's taken it to a whole new level now.
So they went and brought his wife. Well, they were not physical or anything. They walked with her to this thing and came and locked her up in the administration up there. They were there. Hey, Charlie, So it was out of my hands. In fact, out of the JCR's hands, And they brought in police. The vice chancellor came. Then it was Bafu, The guy, he had antiques, so he came and danced as I'm running with them and things, just to
Cool people down.
cool people, yeah. Smart guy, small guy. That was after Ivan Sanfom. So they brought the police and everything. There was no confrontation. I mean, I think we quieted down. Finally, they released her. What actually made it rather troubling was that she was asthmatic.
Oh.
And she wanted her
Inhaler.
Whatever. And the boys would not let it be, And so
Wow.
no, it's scary. I've learned a lot of things. For example, you don't put children, let's say I was a child, in positions of responsibility like that. They can be smart, intelligent, and things like that. But if they don't have a life experience, they are not the people. I suppose you should also sort of impinge on even political levels of negotiation and so on. Experience is important.
Don't put children in charge.
Thank you. So yeah, that is what happened. So they shut down just a hall.
For how long?
I don't remember.
Wow.
That's a long time ago. I'm talking about 1973,
This is like 73.
74.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's 52 years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah. So what happened? They shut your hall down. Means what? You don't go to school again?
Yeah, they sacked us. I mean, like you can't be in the hall. We're going to lectures or whatever, but you're not come. I'm a little vague on the details. I went to live with a friend who was doing national service with, I think, the BRI or something.
Okay. So you went to patch there.
So I was patching with him off campus. Yeah.
Wow.
So that happened, the Queen's Hall crisis.
And when they reopened the school, the hall, were you still vice president? Or you lost the position?
Yeah, I was still vice president. Okay. I mean, because actually the reason why I was leading the thing was that the president was a final year student, and we thought he would be victimized. So the whole idea was to take that burden off him. That's why I was leading the charge. There was a president, but he was a final year student, and of course it was the examinations period and so on, and we thought it was burdensome for him.
This was in the beginning of the Achampong era. So did you have military soldiers come to campus?
Not with this crisis. Later on, in 70, what year did they send us home? That would not be very long before Rawlings came. So that would be later,
Soldiers actually came to campus.
Say?
Soldiers came to campus.
They gave us 15 minutes to leave campus.
How many minutes?
15.
Did you make the time?
They beat some people until they almost died. This guy, Richard Addo, did you hear his name?
No.
He was like a Rawlings lookalike. He entered the military.
Richard Addo.
Yeah. And Richard Addo were all in the karate club together and things. So he had skills and things, There were all kinds of things about how he scaled from the top there, from back onto Unity Hall, from back onto come to the ground floor and things. I mean, there were confrontations like
15 minutes to leave campus.
Bedu gave us, Colonel Bedu, that was his name. That guy, he used to wear his cap up to here. He always looked very, very threatening. Colonel Bedu, he was the regional commissioner for Ashanti region.
Okay. Like a regional minister?
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
He gave us 15 minutes to vacate campus. They actually beat us up. I said I was going to remark this one, yes.
Did you get some of the blows?
Oh, no. There was a time when I used to lie that I was also, because I didn't feel like I was a hero, But later on, I mean, when I became born again and things, I said, no, nobody touched me. That I think somewhere along the line, I lied and said that I was also, they wouldn't have beaten me. But I remember vividly that Republic Hall, I had to go and hook up with somebody to walk out of campus. So look at me walking all the way from Queen's Hall to the gates at, what do you call that place?
On the way out of campus?
Oh, yeah, yes, the exit, But then I was young, so I didn't feel these things. Now I can't even walk from here to here. But anyway.
Experiences of the youth.
So 15 minutes was supposed to be out. They beat us up. Let me tell you why they beat us up. I know some things that I can talk about now, but I can't say it all. I was in the student leadership, and at that point, it had become head on. It had become head on. earlier on, a couple of years before that, or maybe at the onset of this whole thing, a certain Ejibodi had been killed in Accra. The Legon guys had gone on a demonstration. He was shot.
A student.
Ejibodi, yeah. He should be in the annals of the student unrest thing. The story should be there. You know, so the military government was becoming desperate. You know, when we were having our last meetings, we sent an emissary to Accra, because that time it was Cape Coast University, KUST, Legon. Then they hadn't restored the name K. It was UST.
UST.
Yes, and so an emissary comes. He's dead. I mean, he was a medical doctor. You know, he is the one who was sent to Accra. Now, when he came back, our last meeting was over, and it was just me and the president of the SRC. Because of my gate, you know, so we had the last meeting was in Katanga, you know, University Hall, and so he had to wait to walk me back. So it was when we were going back to the hall that he came from Accra. So we actually sat on the lawns there around the Great Hall, and had just the three of us. I'm saying this publicly for the first time, because I was in charge of the publicity and everything. So before our last meeting, there was a deputation of students who were supposed to be an action squad, and they were the ones who were responsible for all the confrontations and things that could happen and so on, or that were going to be initiated. Actually, that's what it was. It will be once again in the records that some arsenal was found at Kumasi Polytechnic.
Guns, weapons.
Yes.
Ammunition.
Homemade bombs.
Okay.
You know,
Molotov
cocktails. Yeah. Yeah. We built them in our chemistry labs and things like that.
Were you a bomb maker?
Not me.
Okay. But you knew the bomb makers?
Yeah, but they were part of us. So they had created this whole thing and went and stashed it at Poly. So we're actually in a meeting when this group came. I can't mention names. So they came and said, look, this is what's happening and so on. This is the plan. When they left, I think after they left, then I raised the protest. I said, how? The student populace doesn't know this. The reason why it had come to this head, because the emissary who came back came to tell us that the story that he was recounted was that the Achampong government was tired, and that if there is any kind of, because they were actually trying to clamp down on this, it had come to a head, and the professional bodies had taken it over and so on. So Adonwinfo came, the medical doctor is dead, so I can't mention his name. He came and said, look, the instruction is to shoot to kill, and that they had positioned battalions, one at Achimota Forest to intercept the Legon people, because we have plotted routes that we're going to use, you know, to avoid any interception from the military or you know. So they had planned it, but you see, we had informers within the military, whatever, and they also had the informers, obviously, amongst us. So they knew. So they were on top of the strategy that the student leadership was planning, you know. So the directive we brought up from Accra was that we should disperse. Those days there were no phones, remember?
Yeah.
So we dispatched somebody to, I didn't know this until this last meeting. So someone was dispatched to Poly for them to scatter. So it's not as if they were able to go and discover bombs, because our people ran away. So they went and found the bombs. It made the front page of the graphic, you know.
Arsenal discovered.
Yes, it made the front page.
Things could have turned bloody.
I remember. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's why I'm telling the story. So the decision was to disband. Now the only people, you see, people every day, the students were around waiting for the call to move or do this. So all that happened was that I did not put out my posters. So that was it, because there had to be some form of bringing everybody together to make the move. So that's how we diffused it. You get it?
That was a smart one.
Yeah, you know, sometimes when I look back at these things, this is not the only one. I look back, there's something that happened at GBC that I can also talk about. I believe that God positions us in a place where he uses us to diffuse stuff or intervene or whatever, because God is spirit. And just as the devil can put a veil in people for them, God is spirit. He can empower people to do that. You read the Old Testament, you find people that God directly empowered and so on. Today is a different dispensation, but men who will pursue righteousness are still placed in a position where they intervene, intercede, and so on. I believe in it 100%. Yes.
What was it? Just a little detour. What was the GBC situation that you diffused?
Your ear is with you.
Yeah, man.
It's sensitive. I shouldn't talk about it.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so. I don't think I should talk about that one because, unfortunately, our partisan politics is still rife with a lot of contention that is totally unnecessary, if you ask me. But that's all I can say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we leave your adventures at UST,
Your adventures.
What was the born again experience for you personally? Because
Awesome.
it happened when you were on campus.
When I've gone back to read a master's.
Yes, to do your master's.
So I always say that is my second degree because finally I did not present my paper for. It was foolishness anyway because there's nothing in the scripture that tells you that you should not aspire and acquire, But I was so energized by that so much that nothing else meant anything to me that time. It still doesn't in a sense,
What were the circumstances that led to you being born
I had
again?
gone back to read a master's and incidentally part of my course, and as I had done previously, I tended to study beyond my remit, so I was reading extensively on religion, so I studied a lot about all kinds of religions and religious practices, Ouija boards, seances, materialization, apart from reading about Shintoism and Islam and so on. So my head was full of this jumble of religious persuasions. It's very interesting, huh? Because my write-up was on the concept of the soul amongst accounts. So I'm in this state when I meet these young Akito students who had just become converted, who came to share the scriptures with me. It's not dramatic because I'd always leaned towards that, But the day that I said, Christ Jesus, come into my heart, it was a complete transformation immediately. I sensed it physically.
What did you feel like?
Well, I was in my bathroom covered in soap. I pride myself in that, not because I'm taking credit for anything, but I'm just tired of people subjugating people because they think that through them they came to see the light and so on. So I want to sort of claim, similarity to Paul's experience, that no man had anything to do with it. You get it? For a long time, the Holy Spirit who taught me my scriptures. That's why my positions are different, and I can be controversial when people think that you're not looking the way they are looking. So yes,
you were covered in soap.
Yes, I was covered in soap. When I said, Christ Jesus, come into my life. I said, look, I've studied. My father brought us up as Presbyterians and so on. Even when I was a child, I would go into a room, I'm going to look for something. I say, God, help me find it, and so on. I was religious in that sense. So the guys would come and we share scriptures, fundamental scriptures. So we went through John. We studied about we read and followed the conversation between Jesus and Nicodemus, and so on. That's a whole teaching that has been turned on its head with your regular religious Christian church. They've turned it completely over on its head. I had an altercation with somebody on that, somebody from Trinity College who thought it is my own making and so on. I said, no, go and read the scriptures again. Anyway, so that was my encounter. So I felt different. And that night, I just felt motivated. The first FM station ever built in this country was built on Tech Campus, and I was part of it. So I just had this urge to go and talk to the gentleman who was the head of that exercise. It was called Abinga Eshan. He died, brilliant student. So that was his project. So I built the radio station. We used to call it TURS, Tech Unidentified Radio Station. Yeah, I bring it up because it's also linked with other things. So I had this urge to go and talk to him. That's when I knew that something had happened. So I went there and actually gave him a complete gospel thing, to the extent that he actually walked me all the way back to the hall. This was somebody who was very libertine and so on. Can't be bothered about those things. But he listened to me and walked me back to my hall. We spoke all the way. I'm sure I affected him, because those days anybody came into my flat, they became converted after we shared. It was. I've seen it. That's why I'm totally intolerant of the kind of things that are going on. Those days my people would bear me witness. We had our fellowship was called Abundant Life. At one go, we had about 80 converts in a matter of weeks, including people who have nothing to do with the Bible, that don't know anything, quoting copiously scriptures from Revelation. So when you see these things and you have experienced it, you become like Paul and say, I know whom I have believed, because it is your own experience. You experienced it. So you could actually almost say it like them, that of the word of God that we have seen and touched and so on. So from subsats, you emerge. How do I feel? That's how I felt. I just felt a certain lightness. I knew that something had entered me. Let me put it like that. That was even before I received the baptism of the Holy Spirit.
What was that like?
That one was fire. I came out of that experience not only speaking in tongues, but speaking in a multiplicity of tongues. And when I speak in tongues, I'm actually speaking a language. It's not the noise that I hear people making.
So who is translating who's interpreting what you say?
I had the gift of interpreting as well.
Okay.
But I don't think I remember any time interpreting me after I have spoken. Somebody else will confirm it. And then in me, I sense a confirmation.
When you say fire, what do you mean?
Fire as in real fire. There was a time when if I got prophetic, if I prophesied, my whole body felt like it was burning. My fingers would be tingling, hot.
Does it happen still?
Yeah. But not as much. GBC spot me.
Quench the fire.
Yeah, GBC quench the fire. Yeah, no, that's a joke. But seriously, it's like when I started working in GBC, I loved what I did so much. It was a new environment and so on. I kind of became less and less active in that, because before then I used to go from house to house to preach all on my own.
Okay.
Oh yes. You see, I had explicit, direct instructions when I was coming from Winneba, but that to be later.
Yeah.
That when I came, I'll be a tent maker, like
Paul.
do my own, like Paul.
Okay, so it's interesting that you become a tutor at the Specialist Training College, Winneba, where you lecture in art and domestic science, but you still do your outreach. You go to prisons. What was your first time of visiting a prison like?
That was when I was in Winneba. That
Yes.
would be like between 81 and 83.
Yes. What was that like? Which prison did you go to?
The Winneba prison.
What was that like?
Well, I don't know why people commit crime. Prison is not for human beings. I don't know, of course, elsewhere prisons are actually luxury itself. But here, it's like a pigsty. In fact, my father had a piggery, and the pigs were treated better. The only prisoners who seem to have a little lee room were political prisoners those days. Those were the revolution days.
Yes.
And so...
you met some in Winneba?
say?
You met some political prisoners in Winneba?
Yes. So they looked different because they would be wearing their cloths and things, and they would be in prison anyway, but they were not in the prison garb and so on. What I remember vividly from there is the stench. When I came back from those outreach things, I actually used to have, it was a 3 of us, it was a 3-man staff thing. My assistant director and another guy who later on will become, what do you call it? What do you call what they are when they are in the secondary schools, and they are curating the religious.
SU?
Not SU. The school. The school pastor. What do you call him?
Or chaplain?
Chaplain.
Yeah. So the prison outreach just made you sad.
Oh, it did. Because it just showed me that Jesus had come. I don't want us to turn our conversation to a Jesus thing, but what else is important?
It's horrible, huh?
Yeah.
Prison.
Let me tell you a very touching story. When you'd go there, you'd have prison service. It's not everybody who came anyway. Those who had a perchance to want to be part of it, and they'll come. And when we go, there was a guy who would lead the stuff, and you could see he was committed, he was sincere and everything. And so he would lead, and he would lead the praises and things that we can preach. Sometimes I would preach, sometimes Mr. Agor will preach, sometimes Mrs. Agbenaza will preach, took turns to do that. And then, one day we come and then this guy says, so he's going to be, or is it discharged? So, yeah. So we're happy, we prayed with him and so on. A month or a couple of months later on, one Sunday we'll go there and here's the guy sitting in front there.
He's back.
He's back. Looking very fresh. He actually put on weight and everything, looking fresh and things, but he was back.
What brought him back?
So crestfallen. What brought him back? You see, the prison system was so intimidating that when we go there, cries like, it's because you are coming in the name of God that they allow you to come. There are a few times we would be preaching and they say somebody's stealing a key or they can't find it, they come and shut down our service and send them packing into their rooms and that kind of thing. So we were treated like they were doing us a favor and that kind of thing. Anyway, so what brought him back? I think what brought him back is probably what sends a lot of people back to prison. Integration. He comes there and that is the environment he has. He has people like him who are all innocent, and so on. Then he goes out there and he has a stigma. He's stigmatized already, and he probably doesn't even know how to get his next meal because most of the people you find in prison, they're there because they're hungry. Well, out there are people who shouldn't be walking out there. They come to steal a goat, they went to somebody's farm, they are like that. They are the ones who are in prison.
Did you meet some young people as well, very young?
Well, I didn't experience very young people, no, not in that prison, And if you want images of what the slave trade used to look like, you probably should go to those prisons. I don't know if it's improved, but these guys looked. What does it say? The dregs of humanity. Yeah, they had carbuncles all over them. And there was this stench that was so heavy when I come back, I'd have my bath. It got into your clothes. And then sometimes the prison wardens themselves, you begin to wonder if there's a difference between the prisoners and them. Because when they come, they're also behind locked doors. So I think that there's a certain tendency, it's what I think, for them to also lose a certain humanity. Because they were ruthless when they had to beat them, shove them into their rooms and whatever. So we have prisons. We don't have correctional institutions. We have prisons. I don't know if it has changed because it's a long time ago.
Do you ever meet anybody on death row?
Not in Winneba. Not in Winneba. You see, I don't know if my inference would be right, but I think people who live in rural settings, close to nature, they tend to be God-fearing. Not in the sense of going to church and things like that, but the principles work better there.
More law-abiding.
Not like the metropolis. Yeah. You don't get people nefarious and evil and protest schemers. You don't find that in the rural community.
What do you miss about the prison outreach?
Say?
What do you miss about it?
What I miss about it was the joy of knowing that you were imparted, because when you were preaching, or at least when I was preaching, you could see it in their faces. But a lot of the time, I don't even think it was depressing. It is depressing. It is depressing because my father, my name Kwafo is a Kwafo. My father.
What does that mean? What does Kwafo mean?
Kwafo.
Like a farmer.
Farmer, yes. So my father always had backyard garden. You do all kinds of animals. One day we were sitting there and he says, "Hey, Ofe, what do you say? We start counting and we even add the lizards. So he has a lot of animals in
it's in the house.
He had an air force of pigeons. He started with 2, so because of that, now when somebody says, okay, so if Adam and Eve were white, then where do we come from? I say, well, my father had 2 pigeons. They were all gray with black strips, but out of them came
the white guys.
Everything
Else. What does Amon mean, by the way? Though?
The Amon probably comes from the Bible.
Okay.
The word, the name
Ammonites.
Amon is the Ammonites. Yeah, okay. Amon is Jewish. Yeah.
And Ofe, you have your
the Ofe is a Kwapim.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were named Michael as well. Who did they name you after?
I was named Manasseh, which was my grandfather's name.
Okay.
He was Manasseh, and my mother saw my mother knows only about the bad Manasseh. He doesn't know about she didn't know then about the other Manasseh, So he said, I mean, wicked king, Nizina, was out of my brother.
No. So
she changed my name to Michael.
So you would have been Manasseh?
Manually.
Mommy will not like that.
So I became Michael. Okay. And then my other cousins, their mothers also changed their names to Michael.
They were also Manasseh?
Yes. It was all named after my grandfather. They were all Manasseh.
So they changed their names to Michael.
Yes, so that's why my name is Amon-Kwafo, because my father's name is Kwafo.
I hope you're enjoying it, and while you're enjoying it, please be part of those who subscribe to this channel so that we can bring more of such content to you. My guest is Michael Amon-Kwafo, and he is a man of many parts, and we're now going to deal with some of these parts because in 1583 and 85, you were a studio artist in QT Gallery, and you exhibited with a lot of people that are really known on the art scene. Yeah. So Wiz Kudowo, Orlando Baita, Rojo Metal Nunu, became a politician later on. Abladi Glover, still painting. Sam Bento. How did you get into this collective of artists?
It was Slim. Sam Bento Slim B. He and Wiz. Wiz after national service at Akosombo, the school, secondary school, did not work with the public service. So these were people who were full-time artists. Yes. So when I had come back from Winneba, I was also working like that, painting on my own, taking them to the gallery and making enough money to actually do the renovations of my father's house and that kind of thing.
What kind of paintings were you doing?
I was doing more like landscapes.
Okay.
It's pretty much some of these.
Okay, so landscapes. Oil. What was the medium?
Oils, yes.
Oil.
I still work in oils.
Okay.
I don't even know how to work in acrylics. Okay. So later on, that was after I retired. Then I started doing digital paintings. But I realized that is a painting, a digital painting of my family, a family portrait.
So how does one do a digital painting?
I work with Corel Draw.
Okay.
So what I do is called photo manipulation. It still involves the use of vector, where you actually draw lines and draw boxes and spaces and fill them in color with color and so on. But the photo manipulation simply means that I will do a seascape, for example, and I will put different images of seas and things, blend them together and so on to create, and then do that.
You do a lot of abstracts as well?
This is abstract, but it is not my strongest. I'm a realist. In fact, I'm a super realist. Oh, incidentally, I made a first class,
Yes, in school. That's an awesome achievement.
That year, that was the only time in painting, at least those years, when they gave 2 first classes. Wow. Because Rojo Metrununu was going to make a first class anyway. He went to Achimoto school and he was very skillful. But here comes this Nigerian professor who is on the
panel.
The panel, yes, and says, if you're going to give this one a first class, then what about this one? Because I had started doing my surrealism. That painting, the one on the wall there, is it's an attempt at trying to recall my final year piece, which is actually what brought attention to me. That piece was quite engaging. It was so engaging that there was a complete Mecca thing that happened. The architect people were coming for it. They said there was this painting.
You have to come and see it.
To come and see it. Yeah. So it was a whole pilgrimage
Wow.
to.
So you were in the same year group with Mr.
He's my
Rujo
classmate.
Metal
Yeah.
Nunu?
He's my mate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who went on to politics later on?
Well, yes, he was part of the PNDC.
Yes.
That is what it is really. Some of those people, their roots are in JJ, but of course automatically became NDC.
Indeed.
You know,
Indeed.
yeah.
What took you to GBC?
What took me
From
to
85?
GBC from 85 was because in 78, after my bachelor's, I came to do national service there. But way before that, in 74, those days when I was having alutas and things, I had actually come to do attachment there.
At GBC?
So I'm pretty much like a GBC baby.
Yeah, from 74, wow.
Yes. So when I came and I was doing my studio thing and taking my works to QT Gallery, then QT Gallery belonged to Debbie Kasajan. You know, the
wife of the...
that place, what do they call it?
it's called Shangri-La.
Shangri-La, yeah.
Her husband was the owner of Shangri-La.
Right.
Yes, hotel.
Beautiful woman, very, very sophisticated, polished, nice. You know, so I used to send my work there, and I was making money. I was actually making good money. I didn't know what to do with money. I gave my money out all the time. One time, my father thought I should be able to give money because he needed to raise money quickly, and I'd given it all out. He never forgave me for it.
What's the most extravagant purchase you made when you...
For myself?
Yes.
Zero.
You never bought anything for
I
yourself?
always gave it out.
You didn't buy a car? You didn't buy...
No. Oh, those days wasn't even about buying cars. No, it was no big deal. Buying cars and those things was not.
You just wanted to paint?
Yeah, I just wanted to paint and make people happy. I liked the fact that somebody needed help and I was there to be able to do that.
And then so you've done your attachment and and then now you get to work full time.
Yes,
Did you
they
apply?
sent somebody to come and get me.
Oh, okay.
They said they didn't have designers. I think what they had was senior designers because most people came and left. Artists don't always stay. Even in my period, I mean, people like Neil and Terry Mills who came after me and things, they left when I left.
But you stayed quite a long time, 85 to
I
2002.
did, 17 years or so.
Yeah.
I did. Because I loved to do set design and construction and all that.
What is set design for somebody who's hearing the term for the first time? What exactly is set design?
Set design. Set design is when your director walks in here, for example, this is my space, this is my studio space. Not studio as in, well, eventually to be a studio, you know, but, and he looks around and says, okay, if I can, the paintings you have stacked here, if I can position the chairs here and have the paintings in the background, then that will be the set, right? Right. So he looks at it and his artistic thing tells him that. But for what I do, I need to actually reproduce the scenario myself. And we use all kinds of gimmicks. Now we have technology, so you can actually do projections and so on. Well, even then, so at least for my work, sometimes I use projector to do projections, not LEDs, you know, but project on a wall. But mainly, what you do is you reproduce the scene that is in your script. So, for example, in the script, like Obra, for let's say Obra, people watched Obra, Obra, and then there's a scene where Mami Dokuno has a living room and things, and then what was the other person? Rukoto, you know, had an office or something. So maybe your script will have 4 different locations where the enactment will happen. So the set designer's charge is to actually simulate that in the studio. Now the studio is a big space, say like this, you know, with 4 walls and lights hanging from the top, and of course a floor. So what you did was you will use panels to demarcate the spaces and create it. So you actually build part of a living room, and then you bring in living room furniture and so on to furnish it. And then you bring in props. What we call props is we have hand props, the things that they use. Maybe at one point they have to open a letter. Where's the envelope? You provide it and so on. So the whole idea is to try and achieve realism using elements of wood and iron and whatever to simulate it, construct it. So we actually build real windows and real doors, but the top is open so the lights can shine down, and the front is open so we can point the cameras to it.
So you work along with artisans, with carpenters?
Well, in the industry, they're not called artisans. In the industry, we have scenic constructors.
Okay.
And then we have scenic decorators those days, because the scene of a forest and so on was actually painted and put there, you know. And then the propsmen are the ones who bring in the furniture, the carpeting, and this and that, and the cutlery that we use. Anything that has to be part of what will happen in that scene is provided.
What was the favorite set on which you worked at GBC?
Actually, I liked Koliko when I was doing it.
The puppets, the
puppet thing, because it was minuscule.
How big was the Koliko set?
Like here, from here to here.
That's it?
Yes, from here to here. Yes, that's it. When I came and took it over, right? It was a whole complex something. They would build this 8-foot thing, and then people stand on it, and then they have. I said, no, but why are you doing it like that? So I changed everything. I did it my way, because the puppet sets where this is a puppet is like this, right? That's the height of the puppet.
You see it in one of Kojo Entry's videos.
Right, that yes.
Those dancing.
Yeah, that story.
Yes,
he has puppets in it. In fact, when we were doing By the Fireside, we haven't talked about By the Fireside. When we were doing By the Fireside, we also added puppetry at one stage, you know, where we had puppets.
Who were the people manipulating the puppets?
Puppeteers.
Okay.
Yes, and
working at GBC, or just they came in from outside?
No, they worked in GBC.
Okay.
In fact, the pros people also trained as puppeteers. Well, actually, they had a puppetry department.
Really?
And they were trained by a gentleman called Mr. Triku. He was the producer.
A whole department for puppets?
Oh, yes. He had gone, it's a whole whatever. That is why when my people reneged on it, I was happy to have them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I can confide in you.
Yes, please.
You know,
we are alumni.
I actually like the puppetry because the puppets won't complain.
They won't complain. No.
Whatever I give them, they will take.
do.
And so I used it to solve my problems. So right there at that level, and mind you, I was then also handling the children's program where I showed children how to do stuff and so on. So I was building all these minuscule things. So it was easier for you to resolve the issues of design on that scale. So I loved doing the puppetry.
That must have been good fun.
Yes, but I also loved doing the big shows like Obra and Osofodazi.
You worked on Osofodazi?
Of course, yes. I was their favorite designer.
What was that like? Working with Odie and all those
I was highly respected, trust me. I was highly respected because when I walked into the studio, my work brought people even from administration to come and look. You know, today I'm showing off.
Osofodazi, Obra.
Yeah. I worked on anything big that GBC ever did. I was also the first person to work in color.
When you started, it was black and white.
Yes, when we came in, it was black and white before we did a transition to color. And even there's a problem. My people were livid. Some people want to show that they know everything. When they are sending other people to go and train, they want to show that they know.
Were you sent abroad to go and train on color?
No. In fact, I was pissed off because I didn't need anybody to send me abroad to go and learn anything. Come on. I'm creative. I'm talented. I've gone to art school. Then you say they should take you outside to go and learn how to use color. Are you kidding me? I'm a painting major. My people were pissed off. You see,
were they painting majors?
Well, incidentally, most of the people who would end up in the design department came from painting and sculpture, mostly painting.
So what was the problem?
Because of the traveling.
They wanted to travel.
And it's not just them. You see, I just wanted to make a point of the fact that these are some of the things that drive some of the ridiculous things that happen in the work environment.
They stop people from traveling.
Yes.
They stop people from traveling. How?
It's not good, eh?
I can understand them because they want to go enjoy the per diem, or go enjoy some new environment.
I wouldn't fault them.
But
my whole point is, look, listen, I'm an arts graduate. I mean, for crying out loud, and I'm looking at this thing, a transition from black and white to color, and you say because they are sending the technicians to go and train.
Where were they going to go to? Which country?
I think Japan, because it was Japan who was.
And that's a long trip, man. That's business class, like 18 hours.
I hated flying anyway. But you get where I'm coming from.
I get you.
You know, I think that we demean ourselves as a race. You know, I remember there's this thing that we used to say when Jerry Rawlings came to I think, do one of they did a rehab and he came to open it. He was livid. I think it's something similar. And he used some expression that a particular guy also died. Oh, nice guy. What's his name again? Reggie Kwao. He was a self-taught artist, fantastic guy. When I came to UBC, he was already selling, selling his art. And at one point when Rawlings, those days, Charlie, the guy was wild though. I think the director of engineering had come to say that they learned a lot from the Japanese. And you see, the Japanese would have come would be technicians. I see and these are, so Rawlings comes and says, leave it. So you mean you learned it from the Japanese? So the guys picked this thing up and it's like, well, it's using Japanese.
couldn't believe it.
You couldn't fault him. You're engineers, and then all these technicians who come and think you're learning from them. Now, what have you been learning as an engineer? That's the point I was trying to make for the Japanese. He had some of what Nkrumah had, that African is able to manage his own affairs. I mean, it's like, come on, we are not inferior to anyone. I feel strongly about these things. God made us equal. There was a time in the history of the races when the Moors, which is us, were up there. And these guys were hunting rats. I'm not racist, though.
No, this is a fact.
I'm just saying that no one, whatever your skin complexion, whatever it is, no one, not just skin, nobody, whether you are maimed or you have 5 legs or whatever, nobody should ever feel that they're inferior. No, not at all.
Made in the image of God. Don't be inferior.
Yes.
So painting, set design, then you also produce and present. What's the first, which came first, producing or presenting?
Oh, presenting mostly was what I did in GBC anyway.
Okay, what was the first show you presented at GBC?
I think it was Children's Own with Tina Moses. Yes. But later on, I was trying to remember Living Arts. I loved doing Living Arts because, and we did very interesting things. I'm very sorry to announce to the industry that what GBC was doing in those days in terms of program depth and things has still not happened. GBC has lost it because it's taking it too long to understand that you need to infuse money. You
need money to.
There's always been this battle with this thing because the place is 3,000 staff, come on, And the reason why nobody does anything about it is that it is an employment avenue, so you can say you employed 3,000 people. What are 3,000 people doing in a broadcast institution?
What would be the ideal number for you if you could?
To run a TV station?
Yes.
1.5 people. I know I'm being ridiculous, but I actually said that.
Far less than 3,000.
Oh, that's an understatement. Come on, what do you mean by 5? A couple of hundreds at most. Maybe even less than 100. The new stations that came later on, the private stations, what is their staff strength? And UTV is always winning the best whatever. UTV.
So cut the numbers down, use technology, creativity.
Right. Oh, you cry. Once again, I'm selling ice in Iceland. You know the drill. Listen, the world has moved on. Business, entrepreneurship, commerce, industry, everything is being done differently. And everything is very downsized. Today, you and I are sitting here and we are running a TV station.
Exactly. So.
Exactly.
If
you're going to do IPTV, you don't need GBC to do that.
What is IPTV?
Internet Protocol Television. That's what you're all doing, doing your podcast and that kind of thing, So I actually used to annoy the people around me by saying that television can be run by 1.5 people. You know why I said that? Because when I went to GBC as a director, there was...
that was your second coming?
Yes. Apparently they were calling me Ababio behind me.
Let's come again.
Ababio.
To come and cut pennies.
Yes, come again. It was not just me. They actually had that name and they resented it. They said, when we come, we don't do anything. That's their claim. But come on. I know what I did when I was there.
But before the Ababio second coming, you still found time to be a lecturer.
I did a lot of
teacher at the School of Performing Arts.
You see?
What were you teaching there?
You're actually confirming it for me. Nothing really changes. When I was a child, I was doing all those things at once. Yes, I was teaching at NAFTI. And I was teaching at the School of Performing Arts. I was teaching the art department bit, teaching them how to build sets and so on. And I was considering actually moving into academia.
So you did quite a lot. And then you went into film and television. I was really surprised to find out that you worked on Heritage Africa.
I was the art director for Heritage Africa, first time out.
What is an art director?
An art director is the one who, simply directs all the art in the film setup, which would mean that you're talking about set design, you're looking at scenic stuff, scenic design that could be on any scale. You're looking at makeup, costume, props, everything.
How did you get that gig? How did you get to work on Heritage Africa?
GTV. Everybody was noticing my work. So Kwanzaa noticed my work and called me.
Where did they shoot that movie?
We shot it in different locations in Accra, in Takoradi. Mostly in Accra and then Takoradi. Takoradi is where we shot most of the scenes. You watched it. Mm-hmm. Where the scenes where the Aluta begins and so on, yes. So we actually went to Takoradi. Kwanzaa is a secondary person, and so he has a lot of nostalgic attachment to what he writes. And then so and rightly so, because in the days of the resistance, these are the things that actually happened. People laid down tools and so on in these places. It's mostly Takoradi and things. Very.
The railway strikers.
Port city.
Yeah, port city. The railways.
The railways, exactly. Yes. So.
And you were an actor too in the same movie?
That was by default.
What do you mean by default?
The day we were supposed to shoot those sequences, the actor didn't show. What I had done for those scenes was to build the newspapers. I had created all the newspapers. I've actually made the newspapers, created them. Well, we can't go into that. That's technical. It's not complicated, but that's what I did. To be an art director for a film on that scale means that you actually, the look and feel of the whole story, to bring that story alive materially and physically is you before the cameras come in.
So you have to read the script as well, right?
But of course, yes. Yes.
Get a feel of what
So when you read the script as an art director, what you do foremost is to actually break it down, what we call a script breakdown. So you get your props breakdown, you get your scenic breakdown, and so on. Now, as an art director, you work with units under your department. Mm-hmm. So I was working with a makeup artist who came from Greece. I was working with a costume mistress, which was Mrs. Vicentia Kuti. Yes, she did so well. Kwanzaa likes her so much. Hey, Vicho, Charlie Vicho is out there. He retired as a dean of schools at NAFTI.
So it was a huge project.
Massive.
But you ended up as an actor.
Yes, so the guy doesn't show. So Kwanzaa has an eye for talent. So, now Mike, as you say, what my
boom.
That was it.
Did you read some lines?
My lines were not much.
Okay, some few lines.
And it's just as well because I just don't know how to cram lines.
Now I'm gonna look for that movie and try and find you in it.
Oh, you didn't see me?
No.
Okay. Okay, then I won't tell you.
I'll look for it.
I'll tell you where to find me.
Okay. And then you were on Sankofa, another big movie. Highly
that one.
Garima.
Yeah, highly Garima.
You're prop master.
I was a prop master and set dresser.
What's a set dresser?
A set dresser is pretty like a set designer. I said that this on location, so you are not fully
on the stage, soundstage,
fabricating and compass. You're actually working on the existing features of the space.
So if there's some foliage, there's some trees and things, you are working with all that stuff.
You go there with shears and so the set dresser actually takes the elements, the visual elements, and then enhances them. Because mind you, this was a period story. So it needed to be restored to original. You're supposed to simulate whatever happened in the 17th century. So I go in there and I do add-ons and things that will reproduce that scenic effect. So that's what a set dresser does. You are between a props man and a set designer. You get it. Excellent. So I did that.
You enjoyed it?
Yes, it was fun. For example, I actually opened for the first time, I don't know after how long, the main exit to the sea, where they would pass the slaves.
Yes, onto the ship.
Yes, and it had been locked for decades or whatever, probably not centuries. When I got there, I think the Center for culture in Cape Coast. That is where the origin. I don't know in what year it was done, but they had actually built a performance stage in the courtyard with concrete columns upon which they had done the wooden framework. I had to pull all of it down.
Yeah, because it doesn't fit in the period.
No, it just destroys everything.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
So you pulled down the concrete.
I had to break everything down. So
Demolition
that
man.
actually delayed the production because the conversion took much longer. You know. So you do it on two levels. First, you are supposed to physically make it look like the period you're coming, and then number two, you now enhance it for cinematic reasons,
Yeah.
which would include adding trappings. For example, I built torches. I didn't know what to do, but I got the local boys to show me. They take bamboo, you cut it for the length that you want. I had to exaggerate it, and then you fill it with sand, and then you put pork with a wick in it.
Yeah.
And then I went on further with that. I went and bought proper jute twines and decorated them, wrapped them around, and made a strap that the guards could hang over their shoulder and things. That's where your artistic license comes in.
I'm going to watch that movie again.
You have to watch
to
it.
see all that stuff.
Yes. There's a way to watch a movie, and there's a way to watch a movie.
Yeah.
You know, if you are watching, people watch movies for. Remind me to come to this one. Anyway, so that's it. I mean, as a set designer, you actually bring it back to life.
Indeed.
Let me put it like that.
Yes, indeed. And then you spent some time as director of television.
Yes.
At GTV.
Before I come down, let me tell you something that happened. Because 2 days ago, I don't know if you know AC Ahen. I was on her platform she was sitting at Cape Coast Castle and saying how it's a crime scene and everything. So I went and wrote a little something there, you know, because I was also remembering. Do you know Rod Duche?
Yes.
You know, you do him?
I do.
It was one of my sleeps.
Okay.
Yeah,
In the movie.
in that sequence. Now, after I had finished the setup in the dungeon, and we put up the lights and created the effects and so on, and all the slaves were in their costume and their chains and things, and we put on the lights. It was so vivid, everybody broke down. Everybody broke down. You know, of course, the lead actress was African American and so on. You know, there were African American elements and so on. But even us, with our kampi, how do you say, kampi, yes, kampi thing, we cried, you know. Oh no, it was touching because you could see it, real slaves.
It's almost like you jump back into time.
Yeah, we went back into time. The story itself is about going back into time. And here you could see it once the lights came on. We saw real slaves. We saw the slave trade with our own eyes vividly.
The horror of it.
It was horrible, which means I also did a good job.
Yeah, good horror.
Yeah.
to bring it back.
So it was very dehumanizing, honestly. It is very dehumanizing.
And I guess that's the role of film, to kind of throw the light back to those days.
I actually like films when they are real.
Yes, realistic.
I like realistic films. I like realism, you know, and I think we did a good job with that. The Ghana segment of that whole film, because it was shot on different locations, was very powerful. You know, it was partly sponsored by the commission through Dr. Abdallah.
Yes, great.
Abdallah, he also did stuff. May his soul rest in peace. He also died last month or so. Yeah.
So I'm looking at your achievements as director of television at GTV from 2012, 2014.
Yeah, so 2011 to I think 2014 was when I was there.
So the analog to digital migration had happened under you.
Yes.
Multi-channel operations happened under you. You trained production professionals in new HR, new technology paradigms.
Yeah.
You know, all of that. It was a busy time.
It was exciting.
Yeah.
I have to admit that when I walked in, I was almost like a mouse confronting a mousetrap, you know, because I had a savvy because I was doing agency work. I actually went.
With Target, right?
No, myself. Design Consult was my company. I had some pretty good accounts. That's another story. I had pretty good accounts with Toyota, with Unique Insurance, a number of them. It was quite comfortable. But I didn't have people sense. I didn't know how to manage people, and they messed up the company. But it was a period in which I did a number of things. I did the movie awards for the first time myself. Yeah, I could sue that young man if I wanted to. You know, that's a joke. I mean, it's,
because you did Miss Ghana.
Miss Ghana
from '87 to 2005.
Yeah.
What was your role there?
Then I was a stage designer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the National Export Awards.
Yes, that too. I started it from the beginning. And it was all, what's the word? It was overlapping, right?
Overlapping.
Yeah, every year,
And then there was a Pan-African Festival for Arts and Music.
Yeah.
I remember that. I was actually...
Panafest.
We performed on that. On,
You
on
did?
Pafam, yes, as students. And you did
Panafest,
that in
Panafest.
1992.
Pafam, yes, with yeah,
Festival of Arts and Music.
yes, that's Rex Dankwa.
Yes, and then you went abroad to World Expo, Hanover in Germany.
I didn't get to go because my wife died.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay. That was 99. How many years?
2000.
26 years.
Yeah. So sorry about that.
Yeah, it happened. I had done everything. I had done the design. I had put everything together. We took props there. We actually had containers that were filled with all the elements that were supposed to go into the Ghana stand.
Wow.
You know, Kwanzaa had these. I don't know if you've gone to Film Africa. When you go to TV Africa, Film Africa, you know the columns there. I designed that thing. You know, yes, with him of course. I mean, but he actually had these guys that he had commissioned, and they actually worked from his yard. Who did all this brass, bronze, beautiful things.
Yeah.
This Kwanzaa.
It was all going to Germany.
Yeah, so we shipped them to Germany. We rented them, leased them from him, shipped them. Hanover is Germany.
Germany, yes.
Hey, Miss Mabon.
You would have gone back for the passing of your wife. What happened?
Then she was ill, sickle cell anemia. She had a crisis. So I didn't get to go. I didn't get to go. Yeah. So well, I did the Ghana stand. It was very successful, I hear. You know, because it was for a whole of 6 months. So our troops were going in turn to be there and so on. It was big. Yeah, Ministry of Trade and Ministry of, and then the GEP now.
Yes.
Ghana Tourism Export Promotional Authority now. Yeah.
Was she an artist or your wife?
My little wife, no, she was not an artist. But she respected my art. Oh, she worked in the public service. Okay. Yeah, she was a civil servant. She actually
not a GBC though.
No. She was a little girl, you know. Somehow I seem to my women were younger than I am, quite younger, you know. Yeah. So she was actually working in the office of the what do you call him? The head of the civil service.
Yes,
yeah, but at the castle. So she saw Rawlings almost every day.
Yeah.
She was fearless. You actually see Rawlings and give you a high five.
Every day you are seeing the president.
Rejoice was like that. I mean, she was like that. She was fearless. I mean, you couldn't intimidate her. She didn't care who you are.
Couldn't intimidate her.
Amazing.
You couldn't intimidate her.
Well, I don't intimidate people anyway. But well, you don't want me to talk about that. Yeah, but she was strong. Very strong. Our firstborn, he's 28 now. He's going to be 29 next month. Our neighborhood, they used to call him designer boy. Share. His mother would take him to school and go and shop at Bifarok, and you know, yeah. We're living big, huh?
Yeah, man.
But we're just ordinary people. You know, I had my 2-bedroom, semi-detached thing, and incidentally, my house, my frontage, was so well done that a whole team from South Africa actually came to shoot a sunlight commercial.
No way.
Yeah.
The one with that great music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everybody loves sunlight.
That one, yes.
Sunlight
One of those, yes. In my frontage, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. People used to come take pictures from it was a simple place.
Where was this? Which part of town?
Sakumono.
Okay.
Sakumono. I was one of the first people to have moved in that time.
Is that property still there?
Yes, I had to sell it and move out.
Okay.
That's another story. But yeah,
wow.
I went there, I was disappointed. The person just dismantled it.
You took away
a regular house now.
Listen, I'm so surprised. The Clinton visit to Ghana, you're part of this.
Which one?
Clinton visits to Ghana?
Yes.
What was your role?
I pretty much the same thing, set up. I did the conference center. Yes, I did the foyer. Deco, set up with all kinds of things.
Design experience
all that coming in, yes. Set design is what opened my world up to me, because I just jumped on set design and went doing other sets. I've done everything. I've done arena design.
Cannes 2008 open ceremony.
Right.
That's you.
I was the head of the technical team.
Wow.
Yeah, and also by default in things, it's also a story. Everything has a story, you know. When I joined that committee, I didn't even know I was part of it. Somebody said, "Oh, you've been cited as one," you know, so I go and join. It's about 40 people, where everybody, Graham and everybody was in it, you know. And then we go on to set up a technical team, and then finally the operational team. Some of it is very sensitive things you can talk about, so you don't want to step on toes.
Presidential debates, the one that brought President Mills to power in 2008.
Yes.
The one that brought President Muhammad to power in 2012.
Yes.
You were part of that.
Yes.
What's your role there?
I was working with IE as the art director. So with the Mills one, for example, I was in Cape Coast and I was in Tamale. Was it Tamale or Bolga? Tamale. So Jean and her team sent me off, you know, for a team to go and do the setup. And I used to do very interesting setups, you know. It's the grace of God, you know, but anything I touch would. I'm not saying I've not had fiascos. I've had some very.
What's your biggest fiasco?
I won't tell you.
No, let's hear.
No, I'll tell you.
I want to hear one.
I'll tell you.
Fiasco.
I'll tell you.
One that it bombed so much, you said, "What? I bombed," but then you recovered.
Okay, this one was not even a bomb, but I'll tell you some very. I lost a whole account because of that. I was doing the launch for Toyota Hilux. It was Kwame Sefakaya brought to come and MC it. It was an awesome event at La Palm. But after that, I didn't get another job from Toyota.
Why?
My constructors, cut corners, they paid me well ahead. So I also paid them, you know, so everybody be happy. They pocketed the money, and then my old stocks, they used it to build the stage. And I had built the ramp to take the pickup up onto the stage. In fact, my ears are always tweaking.
The memory of it.
Ow. And Sato was then the Japanese MD. He was there, happy with me. We were chatting and things. And so the pickup is going, climbs up, and it's going on the stage, and then goes on the stage, and then it's sinking to the sea, right in front of Sato.
Was this rehearsal or the main deal?
Are you kidding me? Okay, the fanfare had not started, but we're now setting up.
The ramp collapsed on you.
Not knowing for the short period when I needed to go and get something, you know, they cut corners. So he hadn't bought the timber. He had gone to take the old timber.
It wasn't reinforced.
It was reinforced.
No way.
I tell you. Meanwhile, this somebody that worked, he knows the drill. In fact, he can second guess me anytime. It was not the only time. Another time it was GIJ, eh? Yes, GIJ awards. I did that also for
GJ awards.
GJ, yes. GJ, yes.
Yeah.
I did it for a while, you know, and I messed up this one, especially when it was Doris who gave me the contract. That day I was tired. Normally I work with my crew to daybreak. I was tired. I think malaria or something. I was tired. I just could not stay with the crew. I trusted my foreman to get it done, and in the morning when I come, we'll continue and do the finishing and things. I didn't know that that guy, when he goes to drink, he becomes something else. So I'm at home, sleeping enough so I can come early and come and do my finishing. The guy had gone to drink. He fight with everybody, fighting with his workers and things. When I came, the report actually came from the executives at the banquet hall.
What?
At the banquet hall.
We're
setting up at the banquet hall. While they were doing the setup, this is in the morning, overnight. So they did that. He did that to me, you know. So,
what have we learned from these fiascos?
Well, it's not the learning curve alone. It is just that. Well, I have never allowed myself to be intimidated, but I think that realistically, there were some things that were just physically beyond me. You know, for example, when we did the Kufur inauguration.
2000.
Yes.
2001.
Yes. I almost died because look at the expanse of Independence Square.
Massive.
Yes, and then I didn't have the resources. I'm going to go buy myself a mobility scooter or anything. So I'm just going. And that is one of the most powerful stages I've ever built, because we actually welded it into place.
You did?
Yes, I actually created the inaugural village. Not the first time that we did something like that. But what Nabil and what's his name, did for Mahama's thing, it was lovely.
Yeah, that was great. So when you're watching these things, you're thinking like a set designer, right?
But of course,
when,
yes.
When you see
Yeah, I'm looking.
yeah.
I look at the camera angles and say, oh, okay, the set must have been built like this, you know, kind of thing. because I'm not there, you know.
Yes.
It was beautiful. They did a good job. On that, Mahama even commended him. Stan.
Yes.
I haven't met him in a long time.
Yeah.
Stan. They did a great job. But the initial is me. I can say it boldly, you know, because when I got the idea initially, it was Oboshi Kofi that I discussed it with, you know. But finally, it was the contractor that I worked with when I discovered him, because I built a stage for a Kirk Franklin show. Yes, using his members. It was a complete fiasco because the people were charged to do the marketing didn't. So I did this massive stage that was a whole plot. It was 8 feet high, 80 by 100.
How many? You need an army of people to build this, right?
Oh, of course, yes.
How many?
Sometimes 20. Maybe you need 50, but it's the ability to pay and all that.
Was that the biggest set you've worked on?
No.
What's the biggest one you've worked on?
I did one for the Leisure Awards at Accra Stadium way back, you know. And then the first, of course, the Lumba thing that we did with the Legacy and what they call it? Legends and Legacy Ball, you know, the very first one we built was quite elaborate because I actually built the staircases in metal. And so it was quite elaborate.
Did you ever meet the Lumba though?
Oh, I did. In fact, before he died, one day I'm sitting in the crowd watching another show and he points to me. Apparently, he and Kojo had been having a discussion about doing a joint something and they wanted me to do it, yes. And so that Lumba actually pointed at me from the crowd and said, where will be something, I remember. But we had met, of course, because of the show we did with him that first time. Oh yeah, I met him.
What was he like in person?
Very pleasant, very polite. But he's as somebody, but he was also weird. I remember.
Uncreative people like that.
Well, mostly we are.
I'm sure people will tell you you're weird too.
No, me, I'm not. I'm not like an artist at all. When I started working in GBs, I used to go to work in suit.
That was weird.
That was weird. Oh wow!
Definitely weird. You tick the box.
I haven't looked at it like that. I haven't looked at it like that at all. So yeah.
Why did you stop though?
Well, I didn't really. Some of my friends call me Coat.
They wanted you to dress down.
I actually started wearing shoes less. Went through Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, you know, because the first December movement, they had a shop, you know, where all the things that they got, they sold them to make money to help with what they were doing with the creches and things like that. She was raising capital herself. And so they had these beautiful jackets. So I loved those jackets. So it is I had money, I bought them. So I had about a dozen of them. Very great jackets. I don't have even one left. Anybody who's traveling, you can Charlie, jacket, you know, everything.
And then you give it to them.
This particular person, Michael, jacket, and they won't bring it back.
That's why you want something from you. They call you by your full name, Michael.
Some of well, yes. This particular friend, she's probably one of the few people who call me Michael, and she says it so nicely. When she watches your video, she'll know I'm talking about her. You know, we are great friends, you know, and I had some very, very good friends. I had people who just didn't like me just because of my work or how I exposed them or whatever it is, but I also had some very good friends. Oh yeah, definitely.
What's it like to be retired? You've been retired now for almost 11 years. What's it like?
If you don't think I'm being blunt, I'm used to being blunt anyway, but I wouldn't want to think that I'm unwise, you know. But I think that a lot of the corruption and things that we continue to talk about is largely because the take-home pay doesn't take people home. You see, I remember I was speaking with somebody who said, "Uncle Mike, we see much."
Meaning?
You know, but the kind of things that people do for their retirement, I couldn't do that because my father didn't bring me up like that. You know, what I'm saying is that people steal, they cheat.
Yeah.
You know, they do all kinds of things to prepare for their retirement. One day I'm at work and then my uncle calls me, hey Charlie, I have to go and see him. He lost his wife. Anyway, which is Jackie younger. And then he calls me, then in Nigeria, I say, oh, Ofe, you can do your footnotes if you like, but Ofe, Madam Bagano,
Finding me a job.
Yes. No, so Uncle Lemon, also, she chief executive in the Juma.
She finding you, she trying to make CEO job.
So I laughed. That's all, Esra.
Were you on retirement then?
No. Then I was actually a director, you know. There's Esra. She, I don't know you. I was a director. I was a director. Who paid on your hand? Na shawa na eji bribe nkakakra.
So your pay is low, but just be collecting small bribes as a director.
That's what she said. He said, and let nobody castigate me about this. It's true. You know, people use their positions and offices to protect themselves. Okay, because they don't want to think about what they can confront if they're not going to be earning what they used to earn on a salary and things like that. And that's what I'm living now.
So the stealing is basically looking at retirement when they will have the opportunities again.
Yes. So you need to, feather your nest. People prepare for their retirement because our systems are not adequate. Even, we have our insurance scheme and so on. So some of it is not unreasonable, but we haven't reached there yet. It's difficult to be a pensioner. I remember one incident when I went with the team to do one of the programs I had brought in when I went to GBC. So some highlight something. It was Mr. Moses Japon who was actually directing that. So we go to was it Sunyani or Kafui Dey? We go there and then this man that I used to respect so much, he was a technician, head of one of the heads in technical, and he had gone on retirement. When I saw him, he did look a little worn around the edges. But I got the feel of it when he actually sat down with me and whispered to me, the director, who's come and be why?
Wow, if you have some money, give me some. Direct like that.
His face has come, I can see his face, I think he's dead. He's been dead for some time. Most of the people in GBC, when they come on retirement, they die. I think largely, it also has a lot to do with the electromagnetic, whatever. That's why
the radiation.
Radiation, yes. That's why they pay as risk allowance. In GBC, they pay an allowance called risk allowance. In lieu of that, I know a lot of the technicians don't live very much beyond 60. Wow. Just 2 days ago, when I heard about Acting Tete's demise, then they said one of my colleagues, Basil was a technician, nice guy, comes from Winnipeg, so we used to call ourselves Mikromi, Simpeni. He's also died just within the week and so on. So people, life expectancy in places like that, it's because the take-home pay does not take people home. People, if we're going to do this thing, let's be committed to doing it, because I believe that we don't live well in this part of the world. It's just a few people who are comfortable, but generally, I was a director, for crying out loud, and it's not because I was reckless, no, or anything. But I'm home and it's stressful. By the grace of God, I'm an artist. So if you're not an artist, or you didn't set your wife up in a business or something, and 9 times out of 10, when they can set their wives up in business and things, it means the money is coming from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Okay? And then one of the things too that is responsible for corruption and things is because of our third leg. A lot of the extra income that people want to make is because of the largesse of living a life beyond what is stipulated. I think what is stipulated is that you get married and you stick to your wife. So when you have all these girls and things beyond that ambit, it's extra expenditure, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So you look for the money to do that. What happens? If you sit in a position where you take decisions about money and where it should go, won't you dip your hands in? Because all those girls who want to show off to their friends are on top of you, and you are catering for them.
How about our traditional polygamists who had 2 or 3 wives?
You see, that's polygamy and wives. Traditionally, the reason why they married more was that a man's power was in his workforce. You know, you had additional human beings. So you had a tribe pretty much, you know, and because of the kind of work they did, you know, these were pastoral jobs and so on. So you that's why you married more than one and so on. How different are two women? Okay, well, suppose they will be different in the way they feel when you hold them or something. But basically, when you're having sex with another woman other than somebody else, I don't think it's any different, because what is happening is actually you. You could even be having with a dog, and you will still get the same whatever that you want to get. So it's a certain something inside us, and that's why God made it so. He gave us those break points, like self-control, because it can take you overboard. You know, I'm not being holier than thou. I know some things that I wouldn't like anybody else to know, because I'm human anyway. But I'm saying that, you see, we are not socialized because we never think of the repercussions of our own actions and so on, how they impinge on other people's lives. You know, you are giving yourself extra expenditure that you are taking from sources that don't belong to you, and you're denying other people of their resources.
Compounding issues.
All that thing, you know. So some of it, I'm not a specialist, but if we sit down and get analytical, a lot of the corruption in Africa is because we don't know what to do with our penises.
Like Amon-Kwafo.
Yes, you can hashtag it. No, I'm dead serious.
No, I get
you know,
we
have to be upfront with some of these things.
Does that mean the men are more corrupt than the women?
Do you want to go into that debate?
I'm just asking a question. You're talking about third leg. Women don't have third legs.
With I may be wrong, but I think that when it comes to corruption, men are usually more corrupt than women are.
Or is it that women can hide it better?
I don't want to go there, you know, because you see, I'm a man too, so I know what I know, you know, but I don't think I want to go there. It's just the sexes. Listen, the reason why Jesus came is for us to understand that we are not animals, you know. I always say there are two kinds of men, males and animals.
You should have been a rapper, man.
Charlie, that's a thought too. I should consider it.
Who is your favorite rapper, by the way?
Is Shatawale a rapper?
Yes, he raps and sings.
I love Sarkodie's rap.
You like Sack too?
I like Sark, yeah. But I love Shatawale.
You love Shatta. You see the way he shut down Accra recently?
I saw the images. Goodness. That guy can run for president, you know.
You really think so, right? He's got the crowd behind him.
He does, you know, but can he be president?
That's the question.
I think all it must take, I'm not going to say all it takes, all it must take to be president is to have a fellow feeling, to be there because you know you want to be there for people. Because when you are president, even if you don't get anything beyond what they pay you, it should be enough for another human being, for any human being. So I believe that when you have the opportunity to be a president. Be that kind of leader who is actually putting his life on the line, you know, to ensure that the people who have put their trust in him, yeah, are partakers of welfare. I'm putting it mildly, you know, because the lip service is plenty. You know, we say that your power is your vote and things like that, but what does the vote bring to them? All of us. Africa is difficult, definitely, because we have a lot of setbacks. It's real, but the second reality is also the fact that we are inconsiderate. You know, because I really believe, like in Nkrumah, that if we will go out of our way to sit down and solve problems, we will solve the problems.
We're recording this on the 24th of October, 2025, which means in 37 days' time, by God's grace, you'll be 71.
Right, yes.
What are your dreams?
I went on one of my platforms and I said, then I was 65. I said, life begins at 65.
That's all.
because I think the normal say is life begins at 40, right? I said life begins at 65. One of my colleagues, a lady, says, "Who told you?" She's already feeling her bones that she's tired. You're talking about life begins at 65. I'm a family person. I've always been, I think the only dream I ever dreamt was to have a family, and build a house and be there with my family and things. The other thing is a commission to reach out to other people, I believe that it is very possible when you listen to people like Michael Jackson and things like that, to make this world a better place. By playing your part, you can't carry the whole world, but just play your part. I admire this president. I don't judge him. I don't judge the person who came before him. I believe that everybody has the opportunity for leadership and they do what they can. The Ghana problem is big. In fact, the bigger problem, I heard Rawlings say something once. It was funny listening to him say that, but he said, in the past, it was a corrupt government. No, it was a corrupt government ruling an innocent people. Now it's a corrupt people ruling, harassing or whatever an innocent government. But I understood what you're saying. If we want to be messianic, in other words, if we want to step in the gap, I mean, like people like Gaddafi and our own people too. I love Konadu when he came. I mean, some of the things he was saying was powerful. The things he came with powerful. The things he brought was powerful. I think that, and this is me saying it, somewhere along the line, the average person looks at the enormity of the challenges. And that is not what even daunts them. But when they find that the people around them don't believe the way they do, it happened with Kwame Nkrumah. The thing, the joke about how Kwame Nkrumah said, "Christ, Scrubble." When
it's interesting. Taking too much money, right?
It's because our systems don't work. You think that they don't have crime over there when they brought it from? It's there. But you see the checks and balances. Over there, this is what works. The 11th commandment. 11th commandment. The 11th commandment is thou shalt not be caught. You see, the 10 commandments require you to do this and that. If you break any one of them, you've broken them all. Okay? Which simply means that we all break it anyway. Mm-hmm. So the only reason why some people look cleaner than others.
You haven't caught them yet.
Exactly. Exactly.
Faithfully following the 11th
commandment. Exactly, the 11th commandment. Thou shalt not be caught. Because in truth, everybody has a breaking point. Some people are martyrs. No matter what pressure you put on them, they won't take it. They won't do this. So actually, I'm not hard on people. I'm not judging anyone because our circumstances are different. What will make somebody give up will not make. Let's take sex, for example. Somebody may be what's the word? When you abstain from sex, what are you? A monk.
Yeah, a monk.
A monk or something. Yeah. Okay, let's say someone's a monk. Yeah. I'm sure there's still one Jezebel somewhere who can bring him down. Yeah.
Use him as a project.
Thank you. You're full of words, aren't you? Use him as a project. So the point I'm trying to make is that I'm not being judgmental. I just think that it is possible to be decent if we can try, and I'm not very good at, unless I write. When I write, I can write very interesting projects that are systematic and things. But when you have to interview me, I'm saying these things. I just ramble on and hope that something sensible will come out of it.
Made a lot of sense.
Yes. So, what is it that it will take? I don't believe 100% that everybody is. I know that the world view is not true. That everybody's good until they meet society. No, we are bad, intrinsically bad. Yes, it's not our fault, but that's our makeup.
Born bad.
We were born bad. That's why we have institutions. That's why we have civilization. That's why we have socialization. It's because we know that we need to put people in a certain frame for the animal in them not to come out. You get it? So we first have to understand that we are animalian in our sensual fields, you know. One day when we have the chance to talk again, we won't talk like this. I want us to actually go into what makes us tick.
And I look forward to that one day.
Soon.
When it arrives.
Soon. I will come and make an invitation for you to come again. This place, my studio will be set up, my collection will be set up and things like that. And then we can go existential and talk esoteric, you know, because we can learn from the West. You know, I think comparatively they've solved quite a bit of their problems. They are socialized, you know. There's a welfare state where, you know, even when you are a weakling, you can still survive kind of. Here is rough. That's why everybody wants to go into politics, because they believe that is where all the influences and so on.
And you think you'll be a retirement.
Exactly, that too. You know, so there's a certain crisis that we're going through. Fundamentally, it is a crisis of people wanting things because they think they don't have it. You know, and I'm now talking about pastors and prophets and all those people. You look in the scriptures and it's, yes, in the kingdom, it's specified that in this realm, you know, some are pastors and so on, for the building up of those who are not pastors and so on. That's all there is to it. They are not titles. I don't like it when people carry titles, because my Bible doesn't teach me that. Jesus said, don't be like the people of the world who like to give themselves titles and will want to be given the juiciest places to sit in public and so on. He says, don't be like that. That's why the scripture says that not many of you should desire to be masters. I do not desire to be a master in anything simply because I don't trust myself. So when you have a situation where people always want to make a demarcation, you know, this laity and clergy thing, it's all crap. It doesn't come from the Bible. It's not gospel. You know, it's man-made simply because men always want to subjugate men. There's a line from the film Ten Commandments that I love. I'll always quote it. This guy, I think he's playing the role of, anyway, so they've strung him up like this, and he's talking to one of the Jewish enforcers, and he goes like, God made men. Men made slaves. God made men like himself. We're free spirits. But men will always want to make sure that they make slaves. The church system is a slave system to create a hierarchy. Have you not read several times in the scriptures when people even want to bow down to Peter or Paul? I say, don't do that. There was a time when Paul actually tore his clothes up because some people were trying to do obeisance to him. He says, I'm a man like you. Look at what's happening. I watch a lot of videos. I see people, you know, men of God too. There's nothing like men of God in the New Testament anyway. And you see them, and they have all these trappings. And one person has come to church, and he has what do you call what comes?
A motorcade.
Well, a couple of motorcade.
Bodyguards.
Well, not just bodyguard. This one is a hostage. Can you say a hostage?
The horses, sir.
Yeah, he has horses coming in front of
I
him.
didn't see that one.
I think that guy is called Lacour or something. He's coming to church, and just like the Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, horses. I think white horses. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Yes, you know, to lead him to church. Come on. Did you die on the cross for anybody? I mean, did you shed blood for anyone? You're not even ready to shed a drop of sweat. A drop of sweat. And they do this, and then people follow, and you think that is it? Is that why Jesus came? Is that why Jesus came? Jesus came so that people can misbehave with his name. And we sit here, and then we pander to it, and we do whatever. And if you dare come out like this, do you know that when I begin to speak like this, I begin to feel like Jesus felt? You know, the very first day he told everybody why he was here, they almost killed him. He goes there, takes their own scroll and reads, the Spirit of God is upon me, blah, 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 and the day of the Lord, and you know, as you listen, it's unfolding. You are dead. And they pursued him until they killed him. You know, because the human essence rejects the divine. We don't want to accept that God created us. We think we are independent. You know, that's why you even have atheists, but I don't have any fight with atheists. It's their choice. But if you are going to take the brand of Christ, don't do it the way you like. Do it according to the book. Who are you?
This conversation will definitely continue.
No, we're going to have another one because I probably will be launching my manifesto.
I want to read it.
Yeah, it should stop because you see, it's impoverishing us. It's impoverishing us. This country and most countries like ours are poor because of our spiritual estate. Not just a state, not just our state, our estate, the whole spiritual estate. Every distortion. You remember when the Jews were in the wilderness and God said, this is what I'll do. This was all miraculous. Don't do this, do this. Every day collect manna, this. And some people were trying to hoard. What happened? Yes.
They were also fighting for their retirement.
Yes, the same sense of insecurity.
Same.
You see, so faith is all. When you can believe that your nation, for example, has what it takes, like that young man is doing up there. He believes that in Burkina Faso they have everything is possible. Well, from what I hear. And that is what he's pursuing. Why can't we do the same thing? We should understand that everything that makes us us is here. So we don't need to you know, on campus, the reason why we stopped the 10 o'clock snack and the 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock snack was because of what was going on. When the snack van comes, you're supposed to take a roll or sandwich, you know, with your cup or whatever, and people will take this. Did you see some of it, or when you came into it had been scrapped?
In the modern day, where they put Milo or coffee for everybody.
Yeah,
and
yes.
People come with jugs.
Yes.
And they come
And they're not thinking of the next person.
exactly. So then
That's us.
It ends. And then
So, you know, it got to a point where, for example, when we are in the faculties and the vans are coming,
everybody's running after the van.
as soon as the van comes, then they start driving away because people go and so that they do and scatter all of the things. So the SRC, we came and said, look, it's a waste.
It's over.
Let's stop it.
Spoil it for everybody.
And that's us. That's us. And they're doing it everywhere. I hate it with the church thing. You know, because it's not like that. I've seen situations, I've been part of the church circuit. I'm part of the church circuit. You know, because I'm not a child of the church like the Presbyterians saying, hey, me there say, me ya sorry ba. When you sorry ba, you were not born by the church. You know? So, if we can go back to our first love, like go back to basics, as in study what the scripture says. Study and make that your guide, make that your standard, and not what you think. It's not by might, it's not by power. It's not, lean not on your own understanding. It's not you. You didn't die for, you didn't create a kingdom. But we like it. We prefer to make our own champions. It's idolatry.
Revo. To be continued.
To you continue.
I really thank
Make sure you put it there to thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for coming, actually.
Yes, you are a man of many talents.
Wow.
And a lot of things that I've
God.
Yes, God bless you with so many talents. And it's been a real pleasure discovering them and sharing your gift to the world. Happy birthday in advance.
No, I'm not. Thank you.
And we'll come back and do this again.
Yes,
God willing.
life begins at 71.
One time. Thank you so much. And I hope you've enjoyed our conversation. If you still haven't yet subscribed, you're still my friend. But you'll even be a better friend if you do subscribe so that you can get more content such as this. My name is Kafui Dey. Let's see you in the comments. God bless.